Andrew Tate, the most famous man on planet Earth. Love him or hate him, everyone is watching. Although controversial, Andrew's meteoric rise to fame has led him to become one of the most influential men in the world. He's no longer regarded as a celebrity or an influencer, but rather a political figure. A man who has captured a generation of minds and impacted millions of people across the globe. His polarizing views have sparked debates worldwide, even at the highest of levels, including institutions and governmental organizations.
Online influencer Andrew Tate's vile misogyny infiltrates our classrooms and society.
But the true Andrew Tate is a man that is largely misunderstood. I wanted to take this opportunity to discover the real Andrew Tate. In December of 2022, I was scheduled to meet Andrew in Dubai for our second interview, but little did I know that podcast would never happen.
Andrew Tate has been arrested.
On that same day, his house was raided and Andrew and his brother Tristan were sentenced to a Romanian jail on multiple charges. For the next 3 months, the world watched on as one of the most powerful men on earth was stripped of everything. In March of 2023, Andrew and his brother were released under house arrest due to a lack of evidence. Fast forward to now, he invited me out to Romania where he remains within the confines of the legal system. With armed guards at his side, me and Andrew met at a secret location just outside of Bucharest. In this 3-hour interview, Andrew shared some of the most controversial opinions today.
They just fucking make it up! Women are the attack vector. How do you avoid this attack vector? What, be gay?
The real reason behind his arrest.
I was accused, obviously, of the complete garbage charge of human trafficking via the Loverboy method, and what they're saying is...
And revealed some shocking confessions never disclosed to the world before.
It's a good question you asked me. I probably shouldn't say this stuff, I'm supposed to say it.
Andrew Tate, thank you very much for coming back on the CEO cast.
It's been a long time, sir.
It has been indeed.
I like the t-shirt.
Well, thank you, man. It's good merch. I'm going to give you one after.
Oh, perfect.
I want to start off with the podcast with this. Since the last time we spoke, I have to thank you because not only have you changed my mindset and my perspective on life, but I've seen personal friends start 6-figure businesses. I've seen fat people go to the gym. I've seen men stop chasing women. I've seen a lot happen. And when I ask them all one thing, they say it's down to Andrew Tate. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, that's amazing news, and it's good to know that I'm having such a positive impact on the world. It's also interesting because it's living the juxtaposition of the mainstream media and the government, especially in the UK, trying to ban me and convince the world that I'm the devil and that I'm evil, and at the same time, everyone's saying I'm doing such good things. And it's certainly highlighted to me exactly how the mainstream establishment works and how scared they are of making men and people motivated in general. Because when you're a motivated individual, you pay attention to the things around you and you're not laying down ready to accept the slave programming. It happened the other day, I think it was yesterday, some idiot from Leeds, I think, with a gun intended on shooting up a mall or something ridiculous. And the mainstream news article was Andrew Tate fan intends on. I've never even met this guy.
Manipulate it in a way where it's down to you, sort of thing.
Well, of course, they're going to say anyone who does anything bad who follows me on Twitter is an Andrew Tate fan. 8.8 million people follow me on Twitter. I'm sure if someone crashes their car, they're not going to say Taylor Swift fan crashed her car.
Yeah, no,
they don't care,
yeah.
right? You could be listening to Taylor Swift driving your car as you plow into a tree, and they're not going to mention it. But it's crazy how the whole establishment works, and I know my message is good, and I know that I'm helping people. But the scary thing is when you go deeper down the rabbit hole, you understand that that's why they dislike me.
Yeah,
they
definitely.
dislike me because I help people.
Yeah.
They dislike me because I motivate people. They
want to enslave people at the end of the day.
Of course.
We're going to get all to this later on in the podcast, but rather than making this a part 2, I want to make this almost a continuation from the last podcast.
Okay.
So if you remember at the end of the podcast last time, I gave you a Quran.
Yeah.
Now this is very interesting because at the time you wasn't Muslim then.
Yeah, that's right.
And now, alhamdulillah, you are.
Yeah.
So first off, I want to say, welcome to Islam.
Thank you.
And secondly, what I want to say is, I know you've said a few times that you don't want to discuss Islam too much on podcasts.
Yeah.
And I completely understand that because at the end of the day, it's nothing to be ashamed of because we're all sinners and nothing can get anyone anything perfectly said. And even me being a born Muslim, and I'd like to say I have a vast amount of knowledge on Islam, regardless of what I say, there's still going to be people out there who comment back on what I say because people have different schools of thought, etc. So what I will say is just like the quiz shows where you got phone a friend, also the team are Muslim right now, so you've got phone a sheikh. So if you've got any answers, any questions that you want answered on this podcast today from a fellow Muslim right here,
thank you.
Or if I can't get the answer, we'll get the answer for you.
Yeah, I'm studying it and I have a huge amount of respect for Islam, and it's one of the only subjects that I am passionate about that I don't know everything about. Everything else I'm interested in, I can sit and talk about for hours.
Yeah.
Or if I talk about Islam, I feel like there's people far more qualified than me, and I feel like it's disrespectful because I'm new to it, I'm a revert, and I'm trying to learn like everybody else. And yes, I'm famous, and yes, I'm well known, but my opinion isn't valid compared to someone who's a born Muslim or studied it harder than I have. So,
Everyone's opinions are valid.
of course, but I don't consider myself qualified.
Yeah, fair enough. But how would you say it's shaped your life and your mentality?
You know the best thing about Islam? The best thing about Islam is how simple it is, because there's wrong and right.
It's a simple religion.
It's wrong and right. I mean, you look at other religions and it's also subjective now.
Yeah.
And that's why I've said many times on different podcasts that it's the last true religion. If you don't have a strong barrier, if you don't have a yes and a no, you don't have a religion. If you tolerate everything, you stand for nothing. And if you believe in God and you say, I believe in God, but I'm not a Muslim, I'm going to say, okay, that's fine. You're a Christian. What is Christianity anymore? What does it mean? You can go to a Christian country, and America, let's take, for example, and you'll get in more trouble for insulting George Floyd than you will for insulting Jesus Christ.
Yeah, for sure.
You can walk down walk down the street with a T-shirt saying Jesus is gay. Girls barely go to church. If they do, who knows what they were doing the night before? None of it means anything. And then if you go and find a Christian that says this trans person has changed gender, what do you think about that? Christians are so soft, they're going to go, well, I hope he finds redeem, and I hope he finds guidance. Haram, bro. Haram. No, you didn't. It's haram. And I like that it's yes and no. And what's the point in a religion if you're too afraid to say what you believe in, or afraid to stick up for it, or afraid to defend it? Then what's the point in any of it? So I feel like it's the last true religion. I feel like it's the last religion on the planet. And it's kind of interesting because since my reversion, I've had lots of conversations with the right-wing conservatives who were upset by my reversion as if I cared. And a lot of them said to me, oh yeah, but it's a Christian country. We need to restore Christianity to England or wherever. And they don't seem to understand that the basic law of the universe is that power vacuums get filled. This is the basic law of the universe. If a tiger arrives in a brand new habitat and there's no other predators, it's going to destroy and eat all the rabbits and it's going to take over.
Facts.
Anyone who's in the West who's concerned about the spread of Islam should be more worried about the absolute fall of Christianity. The reason people revert to Islam is because they're looking for God and they can't find God anywhere else.
Yeah.
It's Christianity's fault for being so weak and decadent.
Yeah, we were discussing this as well as a group earlier on, and we were like, the UK majority of it is a Muslim, population. So it's gone past the point where it's now deemed as a Christian country because there's more Muslims than Christians in the first place.
This is the Islamic Republic of Great Britistan, and the thing about it, but the thing about it is, it's not even about numbers. It's about strength of belief. If you wake up and you want to truly live a religious life, and you want to feel like you have religious conviction, and you want to feel the fraternity of a religious life, and you want to have the boundaries and constraints of a religious life, you're going to be attracted to Islam. You're not going to be attracted to Christianity because you can wake up and say, I'm a Christian, and nothing changes.
Yeah.
Nothing changes and nobody cares. And that is Christians' fault. So I've had a lot of people complain at me as if, like I said, as if my personal choices are something I should... I mean, it's kind of, I'm self-analyzing as I talk here. I find it very, very interesting that Christians look at Islam as a threat as opposed to just understanding that it is a massive power vacuum because Christianity feels godless and you do not feel God in Christianity anymore. And that's the reason that people are so attracted to Islam. That's the reason I was attracted to it, because I respect it. How can you believe in something you don't respect? I don't know, and that's a general question for anything. You have to respect it. You have to look at the creeds and say, okay, I respect that. I respect how they defend their religion. I respect how they're black and white on certain issues. I respect all of these things. Also, it's kind of interesting because if you want to measure the success of a religion, you can measure it in regards to how many people follow it, or like you just said in the UK, or how fast it's growing. But I think the number one measure of success for a religion is how well it preserves the sanctity of a society. I think that if you want to say, is this a successful religion? Well, then you'd look at the society which it governs and say, are the creeds of the religion being adhered to by the society that it governs? I would argue that most Islamic countries have an Islamic feel. I would argue you'd avoid a lot of the LGBT garbage. You'll avoid a lot of the woke insanity. You'll avoid a lot of the feminism, which has destroyed the West, and all these things, because Islam is being adhered to and it's keeping the society functioning. Do I go to Christian countries and feel like Christianity is preserving them? Not really.
What about true hardcore following Christians? I'll give you an example. Obviously, you're just coming off the back of doing a podcast with George Janko.
Yep.
Now, I love that podcast purely because you guys were talking about religion, you being a Muslim, and he seems like, I haven't met him obviously, but a true following Christian.
Yep.
And it's funny because when I see a true following Christian, it's like you're so close to Islam, but you're just a couple of places where you're going wrong.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I was like, shout out to George, because one day, you never know, man could be Muslim himself.
Well, yeah, it's kind of interesting. Christians must feel a deep resentment towards Muslims, especially the true believers, because we stick up for what we believe in, and they want to, but they can't because their own religion has become so woke and almost betrayed them. How can you stand up and say, I'm a Christian and I mean it, and you better, when they have gay preachers? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And your fellow Christians will turn on you and call you a bigot. Your fellow Christians will call you a bigot and call you hateful for saying that a man shouldn't chop his dick off. And then you're going to sit there and say I'm a true Christian.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
So all the Christians I speak to who truly believe, and I've spoken to a lot of them, they are very envious of Islam. And then I'm like, well, then what's the delay? But they feel like an affinity to Christianity because they were raised with Christianity or they're born Christian, and perhaps they see Islam as a Middle Eastern religion, which is kind of interesting because Christianity is a Middle Eastern religion.
Yeah.
They're from the same place.
Yeah, they all spiral they stem from the same country as the Middle East.
I read somewhere that only 18% of Muslims are even Arab. I think the largest, there's obviously a huge black proportion, and Indonesia is a massively Islamic country. Malaysia.
I think Islam just crossed over 3.5 billion Muslims globally. Wow. That's more than half the population of the world.
If you believe in God, I don't see how you cannot be a Muslim. I just don't see the attraction to any other religion that makes any kind of sense. And you can also look at this, and this is why I'm careful to discuss this subject, because I don't want to get in trouble with people who know more than me, but you can also look at this from the ideological and the theologian standpoint in regards to what happens after we die, and superpowers and Allah and Muhammad, peace be upon him, and all these things that we don't quite understand. But you can also discuss it right here on earth with what you see, like I said about preserving the sanctity of a society. So you sit and say, okay, well, if you're Christian, how is Christianity saving your children from the oncoming enslavement? How is your Christianity saving your children from the slave mine programming? How is Christianity protecting you? How is Christianity helping your neighbors? How is Christianity preserving anything? Whereas Islam, it's kind of interesting because someone else said this who was smarter than I, and I can't remember where I heard it from, but they said whenever you see a post-apocalyptic Christian society in a movie, it's just the purge and everyone's out to kill each other. When the meteors hit or whatever and America's under attack, there's snipers on the roof and everyone's trying to get food and everyone's struggling. Whereas if you look at a post-apocalyptic Islamic society, which exists right now, they're on the earth right now, they function and people still love each other. And it's the belief in God that keeps them together. I mean, there's no legal system in Gaza that's stopping people from committing crime. It's God, and it's God alone. And then you sit and say, okay, well, the strength of that religion, even in the harshest possible conditions, can preserve, to a degree, the sanctity of society and human nature. I don't think a Christian country could do that. If you put a Christian country under the level of destruction Gaza's currently going through, I don't think people would sit and say, well, Jesus says I shouldn't steal. In fact, if you look at what happens during natural disasters in America, it's the absolute opposite. It's just looting and chaos. What is a Christian country anymore? I don't know. What is a Christian country? A guy in America recently just got charged for a hate crime for taking down a statue of the devil that they had erected in a church. I'm mind blown. Like,
statue of a devil in a church.
They put a statue of the devil in a church.
That one makes sense.
He walked in there and ripped it down, and he's being charged with a hate crime. So I feel like, if I want to get conspiratorial, which of course is unlike me, but if I want to, I feel like
I'm all for it, so bring it.
Well, God is the final barrier. The final barrier to the slave programming is always going to be God, because there's a firm right and there's a firm wrong. They're going to come along and convince us all that the sky is green, and it's unfortunate because slowly they're going to win. Right now, we laugh at the fact that a man can chop his dick off and become a girl. We laugh at that. But our great-grandchildren won't laugh at that idea. Unfortunately, slowly they're creeping in. And the only barrier to this insanity, the final protection, is God, the book that says yes and no. Simple.
So would you say, just a quick, I'm sorry to disturb you there, would you say the answer to getting out of that and being part of the group where we don't believe what they say regardless is religion. Guys, listen, one of today's sponsors doing something absolutely crazy for you listeners. Check this. If you want to learn how to trade or struggling to be profitable as a trader, Jesse, who you can find on YouTube as Casper SMC, is guaranteeing any listener who applies for mentorship through the link in the description will get funded as a trader, or he'll work directly with you until you do. In just the last 90 days, Jesse's helped over 100 people get funded in his mentorship, and most of these guys never made a single dollar in trading before. And as an extra bonus, Jesse even threw in a gift exclusive to this episode's listeners. And that's the trading strategy he's using 30 days leading up to today's episode to clear $100,000 in profits. You can get more info on Jesse's mentorship and the 100K strategy in 30 days using the link in the description below. I do know Jesse has limited spots in his mentorship, so if you are interested in that, take a moment to apply while enrollment is open. Once again, the link is in the description below, so make sure you apply.
Oh, it is, but it's only Islam. This is the point, because Christianity is under such heavy attack now, and they've watered it down and diluted it so deliberately. They've done that. They want to do it to Islam. They're going to try very hard, but it's not going to be easy. It's still going to be a lot harder. Whereas Christianity doesn't protect anything anymore. There's no
Muslims
firm right and there's no firm
that.
wrong. Exactly. So that's why Christianity is under deliberate attack, because they don't want people to be religious. Because when you're religious, you're going to have a firm right and a firm wrong. The primary goal of the Matrix, and the primary goal is for them to get you in a position where you'll accept the slave programming regardless of what your own eyes tell you. That's their primary goal. Their primary goal is for you to walk through life with a mask on, full of vaccine, seeing everyone around you fully functioning and healthy and scared of a pandemic. Or walking through life and meeting a nice gentleman and calling him a ma'am. That's what they want. They want you to ignore your eyes. So, and it's unfortunate, they've already got a huge percentage of the populace there who will walk outside and see the sky is blue, watch the news and being told it's pink, and look at it and go, oh, I must have made a mistake.
Yeah,
it's
it must
pink.
have made a mistake, yeah.
So that's their primary goal, and religion prevents that. So they've come along and they've deliberately assaulted God, and they've assaulted the Christian faith, and it was a test for the Christian people to stand up and resist, and they failed. So when they complain now about Islam conquering Western nations, I say, well, you failed. You failed. It's now a power vacuum. Power vacuums get filled, and anybody with a true heart and true conviction who truly wants to respect God is going to be attracted to the Islamic faith, because you have failed. I don't want, bro, if you're going to go to war, which I just described, because war is nothing other than controlling of ideas. That's all war is. The reason we send tanks to some random field and blow things apart is to gain influence over a geographical area, so we can control, to control the ideas of that area. So I just described a war to you. It's a spiritual war, but it is a genuine war. If I'm going to go to war against Satanists who are going to try and poison my children and enslave me, who do I want on my team? Think about it. You're about to go into a bar fight. You want to roll with the G's, or you want to roll with a bunch of pussies? It's a war. And if every time I say to Christians, bro, look what they're doing to Christianity, and their answer is, yeah, well, yeah, I pray for them. Bro, no. Haram. Haram.
It's interesting. It's interesting because speaking about it now, everything you just said there is pretty much written in the Quran, that there's going to be a war coming against the Muslims versus the rest, in the sense of, well, they're going to try and take everyone away from Islam and try and do that. But obviously the true Islams are going to stay there. Now, it's interesting because with recent technologies, what I've heard in Islam is that the way they try to do it is they want to combine technology with human to create the same power as God. Right? Now, I look at things like, this might be a conspiracy once again, but the new Apple Vision Pro that's just come out. I look at that and thinking, so you basically want everyone to wear headsets out and about around the whole world and just live, that's fully living in the Matrix.
In the Matrix, bro, yeah. It's scary. And like I said, we will laugh at that. But as technology progresses and our children's children, you're right. People are going to be living completely in a digital world with little glasses on. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I've seen the Apple Vision Pro. I've seen some of the things it can do. I refuse to put it on because I have balls, so I can't. But if once they reduce it to, let's say, the size of my sunglasses,
then it's going to be scary.
It's going to be crazy, right? So, and that's where technology is going. It's heading in one direction, and that's actually the most interesting thing, because empires rise and fall, and we can discuss the falling of the Western Hemisphere at length. But usually geopolitically, as empires rise and fall, another empire comes and fills the vacuum, as we talked about power vacuums. And I feel like this is the first time in human history where, as the Western Empire falls, which it is, it's going to be replaced with this global technological enslavement program. There's going to be some server somewhere in Angola where no one knows where it is, and it's going to control everything and everybody. And it's not just a matter of geopolitical influence waning and politicians falling and things like used to happen before. It's actually a lot more scary. And the globalism is coming and it can't be avoided. And I guess it's kind of like gunpowder technology like this. You can't avoid its progression. It's going to be used. It can.
I'm going to transition the podcast now to a point where, going back again in timeline order, we had done the podcast in May 2022, I think it was, so a while ago.
Yeah.
And then, you had your meteoric rise throughout the rest of 2022. It was crazy. And then we could organize to do a part 2 in Dubai over New Year's period.
Yeah.
And you were saying, come on the boat party, come and live the life, we'll do the podcast. I was like, yes, sick. So let me give you guys, the audience, a story. Going to Dubai now, spent about $2,000 on the ticket, got there. Literally, as soon as I've landed, open up Instagram, and it says there, that, it's all over Instagram, Andrew Tate detained in Romania. So we're like, oh, shit. Detained in Romania. Okay, cool, but you know what? He's going to be there for a couple of days. He'll be all right. You know what? We're here for 2 weeks. He'll be back. Yeah. And there was literally just no sign of what's happening and all that sort of stuff. So I know you've spoken a lot on the whole jail situation, the prison situation, but I just want to know, as it stands right now, currently 2023, the date is 13th of February, day before Valentine's Day. Where do we stand in terms of the system? And, obviously right now you're on Romania arrest, can't leave the country, but where do we stand? Where do we go from here?
Yeah, the wheels of justice turn slowly. And I'm currently trapped within the country of Romania, but I can go anywhere I want inside of the country. I'm on bail, I guess, effectively.
Okay, so I'm going to pick up on one word you just said there, trapped. Why trapped?
Well, I see myself as trapped because I see myself as completely innocent. It's kind of crazy how the world has moved. We just talked about how they're going to assault religion, but I believe all of these things are actually interlinked. It's a large web, and I think that religion is also very, very closely linked to masculinity as a whole, and I think that a man who is strong of conviction, who believes in God, is something that they fear. So they also attack masculinity, and they do that by promoting feminism and also removing any man's capability or abilities to be masculine at any point. And they do that by empowering women, but also empowering the legal system to destroy men at random in the name of women. So I was accused, obviously, of the complete garbage charge of human trafficking via the Loverboy method. And what they're saying is, by being nice to people, I've convinced them to do some work, and I stole the money. And the funny thing about it is they never worked. I never took the money. But the fact that they're trying to say that being nice to a girl now is manipulation. So if you beat a girl, you go to jail. Yeah. If you grab a girl by her hair, you go to jail. If you say, excuse me, please, can you come over here? You go to jail. So you can't escape this insanity anymore, and they're doing it on purpose to remove any capability at all for you to be a man. Women have all the control. We live in a matriarchy. The law is always on their side. They can lie, they can make things up. They're out to destroy you as a man no matter what. They run the household because if you say anything to her, you're gonna go to jail. If they divorces you, she takes all your stuff. Like, it's a matriarchy we live under, and it's very purposeful, and it's kind of scary. I was talking to a friend the other day, and he was saying, so your charges are you were nice to a girl and asked her to do TikTok and keep the money. I said, no, I didn't ask her to do anything. I was nice to a girl who had a TikTok account, and they're saying I stole the money from the TikTok account. They have no proof of this. And he said, bro, I know loads of guys who are nice to girls and buy them handbags. Every girl in Dubai is human trafficked. I was like, well, that's the exact point. Yeah. No one's not human trafficked now. So everyone's human trafficked. And the true objective of all of this insanity and the reason they attacked me, I don't know if you knew this, but I was arrested on the same day that Jeffrey Epstein had a huge break in his case.
Oh, really?
So type in human trafficking and it's only Andrew Tate. It doesn't say anything about Jeffrey Epstein's case. The same people who were on Jeffrey Epstein's island are saying I'm dangerous and my ideas are dangerous and I'm a human trafficker because I have girls who I know who have TikTok accounts. And they found messages between me and the girls when the girls said, I want to get famous on TikTok. You're famous on TikTok. How do I get famous on TikTok? I said, post it this time, post it this time, post it this time. Human trafficking. The whole point of this insanity is that everybody is guilty all of the time. And I don't think most people at home watching this understand if you are a red-blooded male in the world today, you are guilty of crimes. And if they come and they get your phone and they look through it, you are guilty. The time you said to your wife, I'll be home soon, is dinner ready, is controlling behavior. The time you sold your phone without paying taxes. The time you recorded yourself driving, breaking the speed limit. The time, they'll get your phone and they will wreck you. And by the time they put those 8 cases together, you hire a lawyer, you're on bail, you go to trial, and they waste 3 years of your life. They bankrupt you. And you're stuck in this legal quagmire of lawfare. And it's kind of interesting that most people don't seem to understand. When this happened to me, I kept saying on podcasts before it happened, they're going to arrest me. My second life, they're going to get me.
You kept saying the three strikes.
Three strikes. I said, first they try and cancel you. If that fails, they put you in jail for a bullshit reason. If that fails, they kill you. And I said, they're going to arrest me. And I kept warning everyone. And then it came, and people are like, why don't you just get a lawyer? And how stupid do you have to be to think that you just get a lawyer? It's a matrix attack. It's a clown world attack. The whole point is that everybody's guilty of everything all the time, and nobody who's been inside the legal system, if you haven't been through the quagmire of it yet, you don't understand exactly how guilty you are. I guarantee you, every single person watching this right now, if they get hold of your mobile phone and they get the password, they will find charges.
Yeah, they can build something against you.
Of course they can.
Yeah.
They can see the other phones you were in a vicinity with. You could be walking through the mall and you walk past a drug dealer at the wrong time. That's enough for them.
Yep.
They will get something and they will wreck you. And if you're not changing your phone once a month, well, then you're walking around with criminal charges in your pocket. And this is the reality of it. So if you ever get too large, if you ever say things they don't like, because your ability to speak freely is directly correlated with your insignificance. You're only allowed to speak freely if no one listens. If people listen, then you have to be a lot more careful with what you say. Then they come along, they get your phone, and they find any excuse they can to charge you. And what did they do with me? They found me giving timings to girls who have TikTok accounts saying, well, if you post it this time, you'll get more views. And they charged me with human trafficking. The people who were on Epstein's Island then used a media machine. The people who were on Epstein's Island used a media machine.
It literally happened.
3 times.
It happened recently as well with Epstein's Island thing. There was a whole thing that came out about it, and I can't remember what it was, the article that they covered it up with, but literally, anything just gets swiped under the rug.
The people who were on Epstein's Island used the media machine to convince everyone at home that I'm a human trafficker because I said what time to post on TikTok to some friends who said they were not human trafficked. The girls themselves are saying, we're not human trafficked, this is insane, let him go. So it's a matrix attack, and you have to understand that you live under a system in which the government will pretend they protect you, but truthfully, the government is out for itself, and the government is aiming to get forever and endless control of your life. Every single government's objective is some form of communism where they control everything. They don't care about the prosperity. They don't care about making money. These things are kind of a illusion. Many people say, oh yeah, but you know, the government wouldn't do that because they need people to have businesses, they need people to make money. They print the money. They make up the money. And they don't care if you starve because they'll always eat. If they cared about money, why was COVID everyone locked in their house? Why did everyone's business get closed during COVID if they cared about money? No, they never cared about money. They don't care. What they care about is control. And not enough people go to sleep at night realizing that every day you wake up, the government makes new laws. Has the government ever taken a law away? When's the last time the government said, we have too many laws, give me the book, let's throw some of this trash away? No, every day there's new ones. And if you make new laws every single day, you're eventually heading towards slavery. That's the end goal of it, is slavery.
Yep.
And we're not far off slavery now. I think a lot of people don't realize that the idea of slavery is we're gonna get somebody, force them to work, leave them in a house that we've given away. You need an army, you need a fence. It's very difficult. It's actually much easier to pay them a little bit of money and they spend all that money on their house and their food and they believe they have free will. And now they don't realize they're a slave anymore. Because if you're a slave, you get kidnapped and you get told to work and you get a house and food. If I say, oh, I don't have to kidnap you. Oh, here's a nice opportunity for you. Come do this job. It's an opportunity. And then you work and you spend all your money on a house and food. Now you've realized, you think you're free and you're actually a slave.
You're still in it.
Of course. And the best prison on earth is going to be the one you don't realize you're in. That's the goal, is to keep the wool over everyone's eyes. Most people don't realize they're in a jail. They wake up at 7 a.m. and they go to a job and they work hard all day and they come home and they have no time for their family and they barely pay their bills and they barely afford to eat and they have no money left at the end of the month and they somehow think they're free. And they sit there and they watch the news and the news lies to them and they got vaccine in their arm and they can't fly anywhere because they can't afford it or if their boss will give them leave. And they somehow believe they're free. You're a slave.
They believe they're free when their boss signs annual leave, that, yeah, freedom. You ain't enough freedom.
It's absolutely, it's slave world. And it's kind of crazy because even when I was in jail, I was talking to Tristan and we were saying this. Most people on the outside are less free than us here in jail.
Yeah.
You know, at least I can feed my family and feed my children. You know, at least I can fly the people I love all around the world at random. You know, it's kind of crazy. But all of this all of these things that are done is to ensure that the controlling class and the elites have as much control over the populace as possible. That's the end goal of it all, and I don't think most people understand that.
I'm interested to know, what was it like for you to be without your kids? Because obviously last time we done a podcast, you didn't reveal you had kids.
Yeah.
But now that you know, people know that you have kids and aware of it, what was it like for you to be without them for so long?
Yeah.
And have you ever been without them for so long on that scale before?
No, never. But I'm lucky they're relatively young. But I feel like jail is just part of life. It's kind of interesting. I don't know if there's a name for this theory. It might be called the high-low theory. I don't know if that's true. I might have just made that up off the top of my head. But people who are at the bottom rung of society and people who are at the absolute top rung of society live similar lives, and the people in the middle avoid certain things. I'll give you an example. The homeless people didn't get the vaccine. The billionaires didn't get the vaccine. The people in the middle got the vaccine.
Yep.
The homeless people are stuck in endless legal battles and going to jail and need a lawyer and getting arrested, etc. The people at the top are stuck in endless legal battles and going to jail and needing a lawyer and getting arrested. And somewhere in the middle, you can avoid these things. You can sit in the middle and go, oh, I'm so glad I don't go to jail. I'm just going to pay my mortgage, and I'm just going to work really hard, and I'm just going to be quiet. I'm not going to have an opinion, and I'm going to listen to the BBC, and I'm not going to post it on Facebook, and I'm just going to sit there and be a good slave. But if you're on the top or the bottom, you're kind of stuck in the same scenarios. And if you get to a high echelon, the highest echelons of life, you're going to deal with this crap. You're going to go to jail. You're going to catch a case. If you make a bunch of money, you're going to catch a case. If you're at home right now and you're thinking, I want to become a millionaire, that's fine. But if you want to make 20, 30, 40 million dollars and you're from nothing, you're from a council estate like me, and you want to end up with, well, I have hundreds of millions of dollars, but let's say you want to make 30 mil. There is no way you're getting there without catching a case. The feds are going to jump on you. You're going to get tax evasion, money laundering. Some girl's going to want some money. You're going to end up in a jail cell. I guarantee it.
Would you say, because in that case, it's not normal for someone to come from a council estate to make 30, 100 million?
I think it's because there's the universal law there's a law of the universe, and it's absolutely universal. And there's some laws which are man-made, and there's some laws which are dictated by God himself that you can't avoid. And there is no light without dark. There is no light without dark. You're not going to be able to go from a Luton council estate to paying yourself $2 or $3 million a week without catching a case. You're going to end up caught, whether I ran my mouth or not. I sit here and tell the truth because I believe it's my duty, and I believe the reason I have such a large platform is so that I can inspire people to resist the slavery of the matrix. But you're always going to do these things. So if anyone is at home is actually truly ambitious and understands and want to make a whole bunch of money, that's great. But you have to be prepared for the good and the bad. It's actually asinine and awfully childish for people to want an exceptional life and think that exceptionalism is only the positive. People say, I don't want a normal life. I want a great life. Okay, you don't want a normal life. Well, guess what's not normal? Private jets with your Bugatti being flown over to Dubai waiting for you, and Romanian dungeons. They're both not normal scenarios. You can't have one without the other. And if you truly want to be free, or you want to feel like you're free, you're going to pay the price for that. So I think, like, especially as the world continues to spiral towards authoritarianism, especially as people begin to wake up and want to tell the truth, especially as they try to control all of us even harder with the economic mechanisms they have, if you're out here looking to make a bunch of money, you need to also prepare yourself for a case and prepare yourself for jail.
So would you say it's impossible, very, very unlikely for someone to have the Bugatti private jet lifestyle and not have the other side of things where Romanian dungeon?
Okay, well, let's talk about that. So you have to remove all the attack vectors. Let's say I wanted to get as rich as possible, and I wanted to make sure no matter what, I didn't go to jail. Okay, that's fine. But then you're going to end up removing the joys of life, because it's the joy of life that's the attack vector. It's actually funny. I said something the other day to my brother. I said, all the men I know just want to work. If you ask me what I want to do when I wake up, work. What am I doing on Sunday? Work. All I do is work. All the women I know just want to have fun. And fun is where the problems come. All the fun is the sin and the haramities and the garbage. Fun is danger, right? So it's the same. You have a nice Ferrari, you have a Bugatti, you want to drive it really fast, you're well known in your city, that's problems. You want to go out to the club and hang around with a bunch of girls, that's problems. Anything you do once you get rich, they're going to use against you. So you're saying, how do you get rich without ending up in trouble? Well, then what's the point in being rich if you're just going to sit in your house and behave? Like, what's the point in being rich if you're just going to sit in your house and lock the door and be scared of everything? True. If you're a rich person and you go out and you go to a nightclub or you go to a restaurant or you try and talk to a girl on Instagram, that's enough. That's a case. That's it. It's done. That's done.
I
You
mean,
can do
yeah.
it when you're broke. When you're broke, you can go up to a chick and say, hey, you're beautiful. And she'll say, go away. When you're rich and you go up and say, excuse me, you're beautiful, she says, go away. And then she realizes who you were and how rich you were, and she'll change her mind.
literally.
And she'll message you. And then if you ignore her, she'll say you sexually assaulted her. And now you got a police case. That's the world now. So you can't avoid these things. There's no light without dark. And I also think that it would be cowardice to say, I want to get as rich as possible and I want to make sure nothing bad happens to me. Listen, this is the universal law of how the world has always worked. If you're going to be a warlord, and you can talk about it financially, it's financial war, business is war. If you're going to be a warlord, you're going to go to war.
So what I will say is, though you did say, your children are young and they didn't really quite understand, I'm just going to go back to that point because though they may not understand, I haven't got kids, but I can imagine that if I did, I'd still be thinking, regardless, even if they're just born, I'll still be thinking, is everything going all right with them? Oh, yeah. Because you don't, correct me if I'm wrong, you didn't have communication with the outside world apart from talking to your lawyer, right? Or?
Yeah, I had a couple phone calls, but not too many. And my primary problem in jail was making sure everyone else was taken care of. I wasn't worried about myself.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, and this goes back to the point I was making earlier. See, a lot of people want to make money, and because they don't understand how the government operates, because they don't understand what the Matrix is trying to do, because they don't understand that they're guilty of everything all the time just because they're a man, because they don't understand that trying to become financially free is direct attack on the Matrix. They've convinced you that they want people to become financially free because it's good for the economy. That's garbage. No, they want you enslaved, all of you. You are attacking the Matrix in many forms. You need to prepare for jail. And things like my children, I was prepared in advance for jail. I kept saying they're going to send me. If I had not prepared properly, everyone, including myself, would be destitute. My family would be destitute. My children would have starved. I would be destitute. I've been arrested a year and a half ago. That my bank accounts were seized on the day of my arrest. I haven't had not a dollar since that day. And I pulled up an SF-90. So how did I do that? How did I do that? Well, I did that by thinking ahead. And you have to ask the average person at home. And I'll ask you now, please, as a professional, answer the following question. If they take your passport and they take all the bank accounts in your name, and they take all of your cryptocurrency accounts in your name, and they seize your house because your house is a mortgage, and they're going to find out what that is, and they're going to get a new piece of paper from a judge, and they're going to seize that, what do you have left? And where? And can you access it? Can you access it from jail? How do you move that money around? How do you pay for people? Where is it? People don't even think ahead. They save up some money and they put it in their NatWest and they're like, oh, I'm free. You're not free of anything. NatWest will take that off you. It takes a second, one phone call.
Yeah, the same way you said in the last podcast, if you really own a house, they could take that in a split second as well. Same for your money.
Of course, you don't own anything. Yeah. So then you have to sit and go, okay, how do I prepare for the ultimate level of Matrix attack with my money? Well, you can put things in other people's name. That's one way. But then if they work out who those people are, they're going to take that too. So then you have to sit and realize, well, how do the elites do it? The elites don't own anything. Trust funds own things, companies own things, foreign entities own things, shell companies own things. So then you have to go deeper down the rabbit hole and realize that you need to start setting up these extremely elaborate corporate structures just to protect your car, because otherwise you're going to lose it. So most people at home, and the reason I say these things, most people at home don't realize how fragile they are. And you're very fragile if you're broke, but you're also very fragile if you're rich and you're not prepared for the Matrix attack, because it's going to come. It's going to come for you. Yeah. And if you're not prepared for it, they're going to take everything you own and you're going to be destitute. Like I said, a year and 4 months, I haven't had access officially to $1. How am I supposed to live for a year and 4 months with no money, no food, no gas, no paying for my children, nothing?
Well, you tell me, how are you doing it?
Let me think of an excuse.
Because that's a very interesting question. And the thing that intrigues me as well there is the crypto, because everyone seems to believe...
They took everything off all the excuses.
Yeah, and everyone seems to believe that crypto is decentralized, government can't touch it. No one can touch it apart from you.
Yeah, so no. If you have a Binance account or any of these accounts, they'll find them and they'll take it all. So let's just... You have to prepare yourself for these things, and that's one thing I'm not going to say because I'm still currently on bail.
Yeah, of course.
You have to prepare yourself for these things, and it takes diligent work. There's so much work for you to do as a man. I don't know how people even. I barely sleep, and I never not work, and I never lay in. I'm never lazy, and I don't understand how people don't work all of the time. And when I say that, people say, "But work on what? I don't know what to work on, bro." You need 10 passports, you need 25 bank accounts, you need shell companies, you need a trust fund, you need to make some money, you then need to move that money away, you need multiple places to live, you need a place for your children to live, they need a trust fund, you have stuff to do. Yep. And people are just sitting around doing nothing. It's mind-boggling to me. And I guess if you sit around and do nothing, maybe you won't be successful, but if you're lucky enough to pull something off and make a little bit of money, and you get too large, but you haven't done the groundwork, then you get wrecked the other way. They want people inside of their slave containers. They want everyone in the middle. All of the laws are made to control the people in the middle. So they want as many people as possible in the middle. Like we just discussed the vaccine. They can't enforce it against the homeless. They can't enforce it against the billionaires.
They stopped enforcing it altogether.
Well, they have now. But let me give you another example. Taxes. They can't enforce taxes against a homeless man, and they can't enforce taxes against a billionaire. They can only enforce taxes against the people in the middle. Because when you make a law, you have to make the law so that it applies to as many people as possible. So what they try and do is force everyone into this middle bracket, middle class, the middle class. And the goal is to get everyone in there so they can wreck them with the law. It's only the middle class that are afraid of the law. It's the middle class that's afraid of getting a speeding ticket. Because if he gets a speeding ticket and he doesn't pay the speeding ticket, then it goes to a bailiff, and the bailiff turns up to his house, and he can't run away because the house is his and it's in a mortgage, and if he doesn't pay it, they're going to take the house off him and seize his car, and he has to pay that speeding ticket. If you give some homeless bum who just stole a car a speeding ticket, he doesn't care. And if you give a billionaire a speeding ticket, it never even arrives at his house.
Yeah.
It ends up going to some foreign shell company in the Cook Islands that owns the Ferrari he's borrowing. So only in the middle you get screwed by the law, so they try and keep everyone in the middle. That's what they do. So they'll pretend they want to help homelessness and pretend they want to help people at the bottom to elevate them up to this middle class where they can wreck them. And they also drag everyone from the top down
because
as much as possible because they want them in the middle so they can wreck you. And all of the laws are made with this in mind. So if you're going to be truly rich, like I am, and also what I did, my capital crime was preaching freedom and inspiring freedom. The reason they dislike me so heavily is because I inspire freedom amongst the populace.
Yeah.
Young boys look at me and go, I don't want to do the things the Matrix tells me to do. I want to be like Andrew Tate.
Well, this is what I said, like in the beginning of the podcast. I said, I thank you because I've seen people turn businesses within 2 years to 6 figures.
Yep.
And to them, that's their definition of freedom. They're now in the upper echelon of society.
Yep.
And that's thanks to you. So it's the same thing. You're inspiring them to do so, and you're still inspiring people to do so.
Well, I'm doing my best, and I'm a symbol of resistance. I'm a symbol of masculine imperative, and I'm a symbol of freedom. And they find me scary for that reason. And when they want to, I mean, they can't put everyone in jail, right? And they want to keep the population enslaved. So what they're thinking is, if we chop off the head of the snake, if we get rid of Andrew Tate, our job will be easier.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for them, it's not working so far. So they're going to have to assassinate me, it seems.
So while you're lighting that up, I'm going to transition this podcast a bit.
Cool.
There was a recent documentary that came out in the UK. I'm not going to say what documentary it is because I don't think they deserve any more clout than it is. Yeah. But I remember when this documentary was getting released, there was a trailer that showcased your full lifestyle. Cigars, Bugatti, private jet. And I was like, this documentary seems interesting because I don't know what angle they're coming at. So anyway, I watched this podcast. They showed the lifestyle, they showed everything, and obviously it was a full-on Matrix attack documentary. But one thing I highlighted from that documentary, which was one of the things they said, and I'm pretty sure the exact words were, from one of the producers or something like that, is Andrew Tate, from early days, has always chased fame. And they said that in the form of Big Brother, kickboxing they users, they were saying, that's a great way to get famous. So what do you say to that statement there?
Oh, trying to be successful. I'm the worst person in the world. Andrew Tate's trying to be successful. Quickly, put him in jail. Once again, Matrix attack, mind garbage. They're trying to enslave people. Don't be a kickboxer. Don't get up every day, go running, train hard, get strong, be brave, enter the ring, honorable combat. Don't do that. No. Don't do anything of significance. Because if you do anything of significance, you're trying to become famous. That makes you a bad person. How dare you be significant? Significance and fame are the same thing. I think it's the masculine imperative to be a man. What does a male peacock do? It shows its feathers. Hi, look. Yeah, I'll kick the shit out of you. I'll kick the shit out of you. I'll see you on February 10th, pussy. Of course. What does that make me? Does that make me fame hungry? It's just God. What they're hoping is that some kid will sit there and go, okay, so if I try to be anything that's bad, I'll just sit and be a Matrix slave. That's what they want. What's funny is I don't think anybody believes these clowns anymore. I don't know who is watching the BBC and believes a single word they say. I guess the boomers, the old people, but mainstream media is dying. I've been a huge part of the attack on the MSM. I've been a massive part of the crack on the Matrix, which is why they hate me so much. That's why they're trying to get rid of me. I've never watched that documentary. The funnest thing about it, this thing is great. The amount of haters and the amount of documentaries, the amount of garbage that's made about me, I've never watched any of it. And I kind of find it interesting. Even as we speak right now, and I'll say this publicly, as we speak right now, the UK is trying to put me in jail. England, because Romania has failed, so England has picked up. And England's coming up to me with all this garbage, and they're going to try and charge me soon with some imaginary crimes.
Maybe it's why they'll drop the documentary.
Well, there you go. Of course, because you have to poison the public's mind.
Yep. To believe that you are this evil guy.
Right? So the UK is trying to put me in jail. And I'm saying this now on this podcast. Everyone listen to me. The UK is coming next. Romania's failed. UK's picked it up. And as the UK try and put me in jail, I sit and I wonder. I say, imagine being a prosecutor. I probably shouldn't say this stuff. I'm just going to say it. And you get paid, I don't know, $3,000 a month or whatever, $2,000 a month. And you're sitting there just looking through my whole life for months. Oh, he made money. Oh, that's a lot of money. That must be a crime. A Ferrari. Oh, that's a crime. Oh my God, and he has a nice watch. Crime. And just sitting there, the obsession. And for like 6 months, just sitting there,
just analyzing
obsessed.
everything. Yeah.
Like, it's kind of weird that there's all these full-grown adults with this much obsession, making documentaries, trying to take me down, prosecutors in dark rooms going through my life, trying to take me down, ex-girlfriend blowing up my phone who I don't reply to anymore. Like, everyone's just like, it's weird. And I just wake up going, there's so many other people's lives which are just intertwined with mine or obsessed with the idea of trying to be involved in mine. It's actually very weird. I don't know who made that documentary. I don't care. I'm not going to watch it because it's garbage and my time is valuable. And everything they produce is garbage.
Yep.
And the idea that they're going to say that trying to become significant in the world is a bad thing because they see it as chasing fame. No, I see it as becoming significant. Did Genghis Khan chase fame?
No.
Well, I mean, he just wanted to conquer the world.
Yeah, but he became famous because of that.
And now we know his name.
Yeah.
And the people who didn't want to conquer the world, guess what happened to them? They woke up, the Matrix-minded slaves from back then, the people who watched the BBC of those days, and they woke up and said, I don't want to be a bad person. I want to be a good person. I don't want to chase fame. And what they did is they sat there on their little chair and waited for the marauding horde of the Huns to come over the hill and chop their head off. And that's what they did, and they died a nobody. So the people who didn't chase fame got murdered, and their women got stolen from them. And the ones who did chase fame had empires.
Yeah.
So whoever that dipshit who made that documentary is, I would sit with him and argue with him to end of earth. But the funny thing is, I guarantee if I were to sit across from him, he's a dummy, he's probably a bit slow, he's matrix-minded, and he's an idiot. And nobody believes what he says anyway. So I'm flabbergasted these people say these things without embarrassment or remorse. I'm such a professional and so hard on myself. If I said something so asinine, I would feel genuine guilt. I would have to issue some kind of public apology. These clowns just go through earth talking crap and never even look in the mirror and go, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot and nobody believes me. It's crazy. But I guess this is part of the propaganda campaign because the UK is now ramping up its legal attack on me and they want to put me in jail for some reason because Romania's failed. So now they're going to try. So they're going to try and poison public mind first, which makes it another thing interesting. And we're going to say this on the podcast because why not? People say to me, oh, you're in Romania, you're going through the Romanian legal system. Isn't that scary? Do you think it's corrupt? And I say, well, the Romanian legal system is not as politically charged as the West. Do I have a fairer shot in a UK court where members of parliament discuss how I am dangerous and should be in jail?
I mean, they've already banned you from schools and stuff like that.
Do I get a fair trial in England? Tell me. I walk into the English court, trial, judge, law, because that's not subjective at all, of course. And I walk in there, and members of parliament are saying I'm dangerous, and the news is saying I'm dangerous, and the BBC is saying I'm dangerous, and everyone's saying I should go to jail. When I stand there in front of the judge and said, I haven't done anything, yeah, but you're going to take jail. What? Yeah, what the fuck? Do I get a fair shot in England? Yeah. I doubt it. I heavily doubt it. Now, of course, all my boys are in jail, so it'd be easier than Romanian jail. I mean, it's nothing. I've done the hard work, so it's like Butlins compared to what I've been through. But do I even get a fair shot? And then you go further down the rabbit hole and you realize that at the highest echelons of fame and notoriety, the whole legal system is just theater anyway. None of it's fair. This is a question for everyone at home. If you're guilty or innocent can affect the general consensus of a populace, or if it can affect the reputation of a country, or if it can affect the way certain issues are viewed by the masses as a whole, do you think they care about you going to jail for a little while, or do you think they care about giving the right verdict for their agenda?
Their agenda.
Of course. Do you think they're going to sit there and go, Andrew's come to jail and done nothing wrong, but we've been trying to convince the world he's bad for a very long time, and Romania's tried to put him in jail, and they've failed, and now he's here in front of our judge, and we're going to let him go because he's innocent, and let him have BBC Andrew Tate walks free from court, or they're going to say, 2 years, Andrew Tate, guilty, blah, 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 blah. Which one do you think they give a shit about 2 years of my life?
Yeah.
Do you think the Matrix and the people who are in charge of countries are concerned about me going to jail unfairly? Do you know how many people are in jail unfairly? There's so many people in jail unfairly. Nobody of these people have been through the system to understand. The day I stand in front of a UK judge, I'm toast. I'm toast. It doesn't matter. I got the best lawyers, King Counsel. I could sit there
It's
and
all
say,
going to be set up anyway in the first place.
CCTV wasn't me. Jail. I'm done. And that's the thing that most people living inside the Matrix don't yet understand. They still think the law is real. Oh, but the law. What is the law? Well, a book. When was that law made? 1781. If the law wasn't garbage, why do you need a lawyer to interpret it? Why do we need judges to go, maybe yes, maybe no? The law, it's all made up.
Yeah, the law's
it's all a scam.
Some black and white.
It's all the Matrix. It's all a scam. Some people are guilty of certain things. Bro, we're going to sit here and talk about human trafficking. Human trafficking, lover boy method. He was nice to her and convinced her to do something for him. Every woman on earth is a lover girl. Every single one is nice to a man, gets handbags from him.
Yep.
She's nice to him for financial gain. Let's put every single woman on earth in jail. Oh no. That's not a crime.
Not going to be the
that's
case.
That's not a crime,
Yep,
no.
yep.
And
when
any
men
man
do it,
who's
it's
nice
different.
to his woman, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if Andrew Tate is nice to anyone, so I can't be nice to people, I can't be mean to people, I just can't talk to people. I'm not allowed to talk to anyone, because if I talk to anybody and they get hold of the text messages, it's a crime.
Literally.
It's insane. And that's the crazy thing about it, because I have people constantly messaging me, constantly trying to get hold of me, men and women, loads of women, because loads of women love me. Most people don't understand that I'm actually adored by the female populace. And they're like, oh, can we just talk about this? I said, I can't talk to people. If I don't know you, I can't talk to you. Hey, I got a business idea, let's meet. No, I don't know who you are. And I don't know what your intention is. I don't know who you work for. I don't know what you're gonna do with the text message. I can't talk to anyone. And I look like an asshole. I'm not an asshole. I'm trying to protect myself, because once you're under this level of Matrix attack, bro.
If you slip up one little bit, that's it.
I reply yes, no, and okay. Those are my replies on text message. Yes, no, or okay. I can't have a personality anymore. I can't make a joke. I can't laugh. You can't. It's crazy. But yeah, the whole thing's insane.
If you were to go to the UK jail, how long would you think they'll do you for?
I have no idea. They're trying to charge me with a bunch of junk. I don't know.
So my question to you is, with a man that's of your level of wealth and your level of status, you could access things as much as you want.
Yeah.
This may seem like a stupid question.
Yeah.
But you could just bounce, no? Like, in theory,
yeah, but
you
know
could
what?
go to an island.
I could, but you know what? I feel like God's testing me, and he's not giving me this to run. He's giving me this to fight. And if I lose, then I will go to jail. Bro, if I was an illegal immigrant and came into the UK by boat and walked around with a machete, I wouldn't go to jail. But if you make a bunch of money, you're going to go to jail.
Go to jail, yeah.
It's like the priorities. If the only explanation for why the things work the way they work is because they're trying to deliberately destroy society. Have they caught that guy with the acid attack yet?
Nope.
Okay, they haven't even caught him. Have they caught him?
No, they said that his body may be in the River Thames.
Let me tell you why they haven't caught him. And I don't know, of course, because I'm not a police officer, but I am a professional and I know everything some top G. Here's why they haven't caught him. The only way you can get away with an acid attack in London and not get caught within a day is if you have basically no fingerprint, no facial recognition profile, no social media accounts, no bank accounts, no mobile phone, nothing. Because if you had any of those things, you would go. Meaning, he is what? He is an illegal immigrant who arrived on a dinghy. He arrived on a boat. He came into the country. He was never registered or recognized ever. We have no border whatsoever.
No
he
data on
then
him.
Destroyed people's lives. He has no paperwork. And nobody wants to say that on the news, because if you say that on the news, then people are going to start getting pissed off about the boats.
Yep.
So they allow this to happen to tax-paying, law-abiding citizens having acid thrown in their face because some psycho from God knows where turns up. And the police are sitting, a whole task force of NCA are sitting in a dark room going through my social media trying to put me in jail.
This is some dumb shit, man. It's some dumb shit.
On what level of clown world are we? On what level of clown world are we operating on?
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing else to do. There's no stabbing epidemic. The watches are getting stolen in London. The cars, every Range Rover gets stolen. Like, they have nothing else to do. Well, of course, they don't care. They don't care. They don't sit there and say, let's actually protect the population and do something important. No, they don't care. They say, let's get Andrew, because that will show people at home that you can't tell the truth. that you can't get too big and you can't get too popular, and that if you have opinions, you should keep them to yourself. And next time the COVID comes around and you know it's garbage, you should probably shut up because you don't want to end up like Andrew. Look what happened to Andrew. And that's what's going to happen. I don't think I have a fair shot in any Western court. I don't think I have a fair shot anywhere. I have a fair shot with God. That's it. That's all I've got left.
I was going to say this in the beginning of the podcast as well, but Allah says in the Quran, I will not burden the soul. I will not burden the soul with much.
I will not burden the soul with what it cannot bear.
There we go.
Like
yeah,
this.
yeah.
It's true.
And it's in your case, it's like, do you see it as yourself, God testing you?
Well, the thing about all of this, which is so interesting to me, is that, and maybe this is cope, but I would consider it a reframe. My enemies could only make me stronger. You're going to put me in jail. You think I won't come out a more formidable opponent from jail? I mean, there are so many things that could happen to me that would be worse than jail. I could get cancer. I could be in a car crash. I could lose a loved one. I could end up at war. So many worse things than jail. People think jail is terrible. And yeah, jail is bad. But on the list of bad things that can happen to you, jail's actually somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Jail ain't a thing. The government can assassinate me. I'm sure it's crossed their minds. One day they will. But until they assassinate me, they're going to have to put me in jail. And putting me in jail, the primary objective is to financially destroy me, which I will not allow them to do. And my brand is so big now that my brand is worth billions. Just me. I'm me. I'm Andrew Tate. I could walk into any company anywhere and say, hey, pay me $10 million, I'll advertise you. Done. You can't make me poor. No matter how hard you try, prosecutors, I'm going to be rich. That's the first thing. Second thing is mentally break me. But they don't understand that I love the difficulty. I've reframed my mind. I eat pain. It's good. It's fine. Put me in jail. Great. I can't wait. Put me in jail. I have all the time in the world to do push-ups. Put me in jail.
Do you get a buzz off of it?
Take me to jail. No, but if I'm scared of them, that empowers them. You can put me in jail. It doesn't change who I am. In fact, it makes me a more condensed, more formidable version of myself. The fact that everybody knows this is a Matrix attack and I've done nothing wrong makes me more famous and more globally recognizable. I emerged from jail as rich as before, more well-known, and stronger than I've ever been. So put me in fucking jail. So put me in jail. You think I'm scared? That's what we're going to do. Put me in jail. And they think that putting me in jail is going to somehow punish me. I don't see it as a punishment. I'm looking for an exceptional life. Exceptionalism is the highs and the lows.
Yeah.
I want both. I wouldn't appreciate driving my Bugatti around the world if I didn't go to jail. If I only had one, the other would be nothing. There's
You wouldn't
no
know
life
the
without
other
dark.
end. Yeah, you wouldn't know the
Put
other
me in
end.
jail.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Can't wait. I can't wait. Put me in. Because they're going to. So the only reframe is do it. Go and do it. If someone puts a gun to your head, well, shoot me then, pussy. What the fuck? What am I going to sit here and cry?
Then fucking do it then.
Yeah, do it
man.
then.
Do it.
It is what it is. So, but I just want people at home to understand that if you're truly looking to reach the highest levels of experience in life, you're going to end up going through the same crap I'm going through. They're going to hit you and they're going to get you because everyone's guilty of something.
Yeah. Look, you mentioned these 3 stages of a Matrix attack, yeah? Banned, they'll cancel you somehow with allegations, and then the third one, they'll be and kill you.
Yeah.
And I know you've said in many podcasts, even the last one we done, you said you will never commit suicide.
Never.
Any regards at all.
Never.
I understand that, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
You're not the man to do so. But who's to say, and I don't know how much of this in the podcast I can keep in, but who's to say they can't kill you off the same way they did with other people?
If they want me dead, I'll die. But I know I've got a lot of jail to do first before that. So I'm on my second life, but I don't think I've expired it yet.
But do you think it has to be in that order?
Yeah. Because now if they kill you, they make you a martyr. Plus everybody knows what they're doing now. You can't just kill people like before and nobody know. If they kill me, everyone's going to know. So they're like, okay, well, we don't want to make him a hero. We don't want to give him the significance of a hero into eternity. Because truthfully, what we do on this earth, Danya, what we do on this earth is temporary, and that's fine. But being a legend for eternity is pretty attractive.
Yeah, of course.
And these people are not legends, and they don't want to make me a legend. They don't want to kill me. They want to destroy me. You don't destroy a man by killing him at the height of his powers. No, they want to break me. They want me to do a Jordan Peterson and cry my eyes out on cameras.
They want to make an example of you.
They want to make an example of me. They want me to sit and say sorry. They want me to say, oh, I'm sorry, Matrix. I'm sorry.
Sorry for doing this.
I didn't mean it. They want me to pussy out. And they're very frustrated that I won't. They're like, why can't this guy, why can't we just make him shut up? He is so stubborn. Correct. I am stubborn. As we discussed earlier in the podcast. God knows what's right. God knows what's wrong. I just follow the book.
Yeah.
I tell the truth. That's my job to do, is tell the truth. My job here is not to lie to people. I don't lie. So that's why I'm stubborn. That's why they don't like break me. They don't understand that
can't happen.
They can't happen because the legal quagmire has increased the strength of my brand, which increased my earning potential. And they can't mentally break me because I'm a warlord and I enjoy war. So come do it. It's kind of crazy. Like the UK who are after me, they have these crazy ideas. I'm this big criminal kingpin and blah, 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 blah. I mean, I know I look the part. I'll take it. But I also think, and I'm just talking out loud, like, I'm a prosecutor, okay. He's a criminal kingpin, he's doing crimes, he's doing this, he's doing this. I'm the most Googled man on earth. You think I can't make legit money? Like, I'm the most Googled human on the planet. You think I can't, like, sell $10 million of fucking t-shirts?
Yeah, literally.
Like, what do you think I'm doing?
Anything you start
he's human trafficking.
Literally.
He's selling drugs. Why would I sell drugs? I'm the most famous man on earth. I have the most legal, most straightforward incomes you can possibly have. Hi, this is me. This is where my money comes from. No, must be something hidden. What? Why? Because I said women can't park? Because I said women can't park? No, he's a misogynist. He must have done something. He's a crime boss. Bro, these people have lost their minds.
They're just looking for anything at this point now, isn't it?
And I'm going to go to court and say, this is garbage. Here's all my legal income. This is all a lie.
Yep.
This is garbage. And they're going to sit there and go, jail.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Jail.
They've already decided it from the get-go.
100% is a matrix attack.
Yeah.
100% is a matrix attack, just like Romania did. And that's how it works. And I guess the only regret I kind of have is people I love being dragged into the matrix attacks. So recently, a girl I know very well her house was raided, and she was just dragged to jail in England. This is very recent. Tell us about Andrew Tate. Tell us about Andrew Tate. Tell us about Andrew Tate. Da-da-da.
Did they raid her house because
of me?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I find it very sad that people I care about have to go through that garbage because the government is abusive. And she was like, what is this? Like, this is insane. And it goes to show you, like, the levels these people operate on, because they were saying, oh, we can see he sent you money. She's like, yeah. And where did that money come from? What work are you doing for him? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Are you moving things? Does he make you, like, trying to pretend I've hired her for something? She's like, I go to the spa.
He sent me money for Harrods.
Yeah, like, but that's too much money for shopping. She's like, maybe for you, not for me. Like, like
you know how much Dior costs nowadays?
Yeah, bro, to these people, 10 grand is like, whoa,
literally,
criminal enterprise. Yeah. I'm like, she said she wanted to go shopping, so I gave her 10 grand.
Yeah, that's a pair of Jimmy shoes right there.
Yeah, it's 2 pairs of shoes.
Yeah, done.
These people have lost their mind, bro. It's crazy. But it's fine. I'll end up in jail with the guys, and I'll sit there and I'll eat my meal like everyone else. Most people don't understand. I'm not a rich guy. I'm a poor guy with lots of money. I'm not from a privileged background.
Yeah, you'll fit right in.
Yo, bro.
Fit right in. Can't wait.
Can't wait.
You said you're a guy that's very prepared, right?
Yeah.
And I want to bring it to this point. I want to give you my perspective on it, and you tell me how it was. So, towards the end of 2022, before your arrest, you were chilling with streamers like Aiden Ross, for example, right? On their stream, and trying to improve their mentality, trying to better themselves. Was that so? Because there's a few ways looking at this.
Yeah.
Him being the most popular streamer at the time can keep your relevancy up as well in the time that you're away. Yeah. But also, it can be by using him to keep your message going to the masses. Now, credit to him because I don't follow him too much, to be fair, but I think for a month or two after you were in jail, he was still going to the gym, getting in shape. Yeah. Don't know about now, but I mean, what was it for you?
Yeah, he has a huge audience of young kids. The new generation are lost, bro. They're a mess. And
finished.
Yeah, they're done.
Yeah.
And most streamers are just clowns, and they don't provide any kind of value, because to provide value in the world, you need to know things. And you're only going to know things through pain and suffering. Yeah. I think that God teaches you through pain and suffering. Every single time you suffer pain, you're learning a lesson. And to be honest with you, I don't think men learn lessons any other way. I don't think we are capable of learning lessons without pain. I can give you a bunch of examples. How many times has your girl said, stop cheating on me or I'm going to leave? Yeah. You're like, yeah. And you keep cheating. And then she leaves. You're like, damn, don't leave.
She actually did it.
You only learn the hard way. That's men. So that's why God teaches us the hard way. So for you to have value, for you to have wisdom, for you to be able to give lessons, you need to have a very difficult life. The reason people listen to me talk is because my life's been good and bad. If I was only good, if I was only sitting here talking about what watches I can buy, nobody would care.
Yeah.
So I
and
have
to be fair, people might not even like you because this guy's just a flexer.
100%.
Yeah.
So you need to have all the bad things. And a lot of these young kids now, the streamers, they don't have any difficulty in their lives. Bro, you're 14 and you start getting paid millions of dollars from these streaming platforms. You have literally zero difficulty. So then how do you attract views? The only way you can do it is by self-degradation, being a clown, being a court jester, and for people to laugh at you as opposed to laugh with you. So then it becomes a race to the bottom of who's going to do the most stupid shit. And then they all start just being idiots online and being children. And I understood this, and Aiden Ross is one of the most well-known versions of this. And he's actually a nice guy. I know him very well. And I thought, let me try and give some positive messaging to the youth. And that's why I did it. And I actually like Aiden. He's more switched on than he comes across. But I'll take any platform and say the same things. It doesn't matter what platform you put me on. It doesn't matter if it's a feminist platform or a children platform. I'll say the same things, which is the truth of God and how to work hard. And I'd like to think there's some children out there I've inspired via Aiden. He's a really nice guy, but I don't know what he's doing now. I don't know what his streams are about now, etc. I don't watch these things. I don't find them particularly entertaining. But I'm hoping, my prediction is that as the world gets more and more difficult, and that's coming, by the way, anyone who's watching this, if you're sleeping at night, you should stop. You should begin to panic because it's about to get very hard for the average person. As the world gets more and more difficult, people are going to shy away from the insanity of entertainment and perma-distraction and start looking for answers and solutions. And that's going to allow people who provide value and value-based content to become even larger than ever before. Yep. When you can't pay the rent, you want to know how to pay the rent. You don't have time to watch stupid streamer garbage. So I'd like to think that's the case. But yeah, Aiden's a really nice guy. But that demographic is lost, bro. The young people are lost. I'm scared for the future of the world. But I know you know what? I'm starting to be a grandpa because the grandpas have always said this. Think about it. Even like 30, 40 years ago, the old people were like, you young people. I'm starting to sound like that now myself. I'm like, you young people, you're all weird. But they are. It's like, I don't know what's going to happen.
I wanted to ask you this, right? Top G lifestyle seems like the guy that can do it all. The Bugatti lifestyle, the private jets, the girls, etc., the fat house, all of it, right? And whereas we're seeing streamers making a shitload of money nowadays, where they can do the private jet lifestyle, have a car collection, nice crib, girl to go along with it, but at the same time, they're not intellectually there, as you just said.
Yep.
So do you think the barrier to being the top G or the guy that people want to be is closing?
I think that money's an amplifier. I've said this a lot of times, but I have to say it over and over again because I want people to understand. A lot of people think money will fix their problems, and all it will do is exasperate them.
Yeah.
If you're a coward, you will be a bigger coward if you're rich. You'll be more afraid of robbery. You'll be more afraid of people finding out where you live. If you're an idiot, you'll be a bigger idiot if you're rich. You're going to do more stupid things than you would have done if you were poor. If you're a G, you'll be a bigger G if you're rich. So a lot of people don't understand that money doesn't change you. Money accelerates and exasperates and amplifies who you truly are. The problem with a lot of these other streamers, as you just described, is they got rich young and they weren't shit. And now they're rich idiots. They were idiots and now they're rich idiots.
But here's what I'm saying to it, because let's just say the younger audience to that want to be rich one day. Now, if you were my age, you could look at Andrew Tate and be like, okay, cool, I want to open up this business, I want to do this, I want to do this crypto, eventually I'm going to be in that position. Whereas you could have the younger generation look up to streamers, I want to sit on my computer all day and make money like that.
And some of them do. I mean,
there's no hardship to it.
There is no hardship. First thing I'll say about streamers is, and this is my sneaking suspicion, none of them make the money they pretend they make. You know what's kind of weird since I became, I'll tell everyone at home how rich I am. I know this is supposed to be taboo. I don't give a shit. I pay myself $1 million a week because it's a nice round number. I could pay myself a whole bunch more. That's what I pay myself, and that's what I spend. And I spend it all every single month. I buy a new car 3 times a week.
So you spend $4 million a month?
Correct. I buy a new car 3 times a week. I bought a new car yesterday.
What car did you buy?
The new Vantage came out.
Yep,
went on the configurator.
Yep.
Ticked every box. 316,000 euro.
Yep.
Bought it. When does it come? Dunno. Will I drive it? Probably not. Just bought it.
I even saw that vlog where you bought the M3. You just wanted to see what the handling
I
was
wanted
like.
to see what the steering was like.
Yeah.
I've driven that car for 1 kilometer.
And that's it.
It's on our driveway. Yeah, they don't want it. So that's how much I make. These streamers, when they get these $20 million contract or $30 million, they announce these big contracts. Well, that is done so that the platforms can try and attract more streamers.
Of
but
course.
truthfully, they say $30 million contract, that's probably across 3 years, and they have to pay 50% tax, and there's a performance bonus. They only get the 30 million if they get X amount of views, which they're never gonna get, blah, blah, blah. All in all, they don't make anywhere near the money people think they make. I mean, okay, I have a Bugatti. Everyone knows I'm famous for having a Bugatti. My car was $5.4 million. Where's everyone else's? If everyone got a $50 million contract, why has no one else got a Bugatti? Because Lambos don't matter anymore. No one cares about Lambos.
Wait, we're going past stage.
Oh, no, Lambos are boring.
Yeah.
5 years ago, you had a Lambo, you were the man. Now, bro,
Like, yeah,
my chick
whatever,
drives a
yeah.
Lambo. Who gives a shit? So, bro, I buy Lambos on bulk. Give me 4, give me 3, give me all the colors. Lambos are nothing. So, where's everyone else's Bugatti? Well, they can't afford one. And it's only $5 million. And I say only, and I'm not trying to be arrogant, but it's only 5M. Like, it's a month's wages for me. If these people are making 50, 40, 30 million like they say they are, where are all their nice cars? None of them are making the money they say they are. First, that's all a lie. And that's just to convince kids to give up their future to just try and become famous streamers. And then we go down the path I just described before. When you try and become a famous streamer and you're an idiot and you haven't had a difficult life and you have no wisdom, nothing to teach, can't give value, you end up being a clown, doing dumb shit online, trying to be an idiot, which just further pollutes society as a whole. So it's a trap.
Yep.
That's the first thing. The second thing is, the only good thing about having money is that it amplifies your attributes, as I said before, which means if you make money the hard way, all of the attributes you learn along the way can be amplified by the money.
Yep.
If you learn how to make money in a difficult way and you gain stress tolerance and you learn how to manage people and you learn how to do meetings, you learn how to speak well, you learn how to be charming, you learn how to be funny.
These are all skill sets you
They're
learn.
skill sets. And then you get the money and these skill sets are amplified and now your life is great. If you make money any other way, let's say you make money the easy way, let's say you win the lottery or you catch a crypto pump or you get a streaming contract for setting yourself on fire. Bro, these kids are putting forks in plug sockets, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
bro, if you get money for that, there's no point having the money.
yeah.
Because another thing about money that most people don't understand is a lot of people think, oh, you get money, you get girls, you get respect, you get clout. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Not if you act like that.
Not if you're an idiot.
Yeah.
If you get money, you're just going to be a robbery target for the women you date, for the government, and for the criminals. Congratulations.
And if you're not
that's
smart,
it.
if you're not street smart, you're not going to see any of it
You're
coming.
not going to see any of it coming, and you're going to get wrecked. So you don't want to make money the easy way anyway. Another thing that's funny, this was last night. You know what? I'm worth, I say I'm a billionaire, and people think I'm lying about that, but I'm not lying. And I want people to understand at home that I have an online educational platform called The Real World where we teach people how to make money online. 18 modern wealth creation methods. It's $49 a month. It turns over, let's say, $13, $14 million a month. At $14 million a month, that's 7 times multiplier, which is pretty standardized for a tech company. I have a $1 billion company, which I own 100% mine. I own it. So I'm a billionaire. And I was sitting at home with my brother last night, smoking a cigar, and we were playing Uno.
The little board game, is that? Yeah?
Uno, bro.
Yep, okay.
And it's serious, street rules. Bro, we don't take Uno lightly. So we're playing Uno. And Tristan said, when we were broke, we sat in Luton playing Uno. And now we're billionaires. We sit here playing Uno.
What's the difference?
Nothing changes.
Nothing changes.
Nothing changes. Because the best thing about life is going to be spending time with the people you care about and your brother. Okay, now I have better security. Cool, now I'm smoking a cigar. Yes, my house is nicer. But the fundamentals of my life are basically the same. If I have any spare time at all, I'll sit with my brother and we'll do something asinine. And a lot of people, especially these people who are getting rich, because they're not quality people and they don't have quality relationships, they don't have brotherhood. They don't have a network of people they can rely on. They don't have a woman who truly loves them. And they're going to try and buy it, and they're going to find out that can't be done. The best thing about my life, the reason I am so rich is not because I have money. It's because I have friends who I could give all my money to. And my girl. And say, I'll be see you in 10 years. And say, cool. And that's money. That's wealth. That's rich. Most people can't do that. These fucking nerds make a bunch of money. They can't trust anyone around them. They can't trust their chick. They can't trust their friends. They can't trust anything. Then what do you have? It's only money. And I think money is probably the third or fourth most important thing in the world. It is important, but above that is health and love and your network and people you care about. There's certainly things above money. And if you have all of those and then you get money, you can amplify it. But I think a lot of people don't understand that money's an amplifier. I said this often to people who ask me questions. I've had little nerds come up to me and go, I want to get rich. I was like, bro, you need to stop being a geek. Because if you get rich, you're going to be a fucking mega geek. You're a dork. Fix it. Fix it. I hope you don't get rich before you fix your problem, sir, because you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Because if you get rich in the state you're in, you're done, bro.
Yeah.
You're
done.
You're
gonna get fucked over one time.
You don't want that. You need to go and fix everything about yourself, and then maybe God will reward you. Maybe you're not rich because you're a little nerd, and he's tired of it.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it. I met you for 5 seconds. I don't want to talk to you anymore. So you need to understand these things and build a base of life and understand what's important, and then you get money and it allows you to amplify all of it.
Here's what I'm going to ask you, Tate, yeah? Would you say that the real world is one of, like, you know, the main income streams for yourself?
No, so I wouldn't say it's the main income stream. What I will say, first I'll say why it exists. I'm going to go conspiratorial again.
Go on. We love it.
Why not? I've sat in jail trying to analyze which power structures want me in jail. I've sat there and said, okay, why do they want me in jail? Well, the military-industrial complex wants me in jail because I tell kids not to join the army and not to go die in a foreign war for no reason, because every reason they tell you to go to war is a lie. So the army wants me in jail. And then I sat there and thought, okay, well, the feminists and the matriarchy want me in jail because I'm inspiring masculinity, which is resistance to their power. And where there's a power struggle, there's conflict, and they want me in jail because I tell men that they're allowed to have standards.
Yep.
I'm seen
You're
as a
allowed to be a
misogynist.
man.
Yeah, I'm seen as a misogynist because I effectively say as a man, you're allowed to have a standard. Yep. You're allowed to say to a woman, no, you're not supposed to speak to me that way. I'm a full-grown adult and I want to be respected in my household. That makes me a bad person. So that's why the matriarchy wants me in jail. And then I sit and say, what other powerful structures want me in jail? Well, maybe the educational platforms want me in jail. Maybe the education system wants me in jail because that's the biggest scam of them all. The biggest scam of them all is the modern education system. And I can prove to you it's a scam, and they know it's a scam because it has to operate inside of a vacuum. If it wasn't a scam, they would allow people to take out a loan and decide what they spend it on. Do you want to start a business? Do you want to buy crypto? Do you want to buy a house? Do you want to buy a car? Do you want to get a degree?
Yep.
No. You can only get a degree with the loan because if they give you any choice, no one will pick a degree because they know it's useless, because it's out-of-date information that takes too long to teach, and you get massively in debt. Think how fast the world moves. Think of things that are relevant now that weren't relevant 3 weeks ago. And you're learning things in a degree that were from 20 years ago, and it takes you 4 years to learn.
That's going to be completely irrelevant by that point.
Bro, Christmas feels like a lifetime ago. It's been a month. And you're going to sit and go to school for 4 years and learn things from 1996 and think that piece of paper is worth anything?
Yeah, it's not.
The whole thing's a scam, and they know it's a scam. So I sit there and go, well, why would the educational systems want me in jail? Yeah, I say it's a scam. But also maybe it's because I own university.com, www.university.com, and I have an online educational platform, which is the largest school on the planet. And we're teaching financial literacy, and it costs $49 a month, less than a Nando's, and we'll teach kids how to make money online, and they won't go to the school anymore. So I'm like, okay, so the educational system wants me in jail, the matriarchy wants me in jail, the military-industrial complex wants me in jail. Can't wait to go to court. I'm sure it's going to be a fair trial. Can't wait. I'm sure I'm going to walk.
Here's where I was going with it, though, yeah? I'll be real, Tate. I can't even post this podcast on TikTok. Because my last TikTok account got banned. It wasn't even clips of you. It was me and the guest speaking about you, and TikTok was like, no, harmful content, take it down. And we were literally just saying you're a nice guy. So I can't even post this on TikTok. And I know one of the reasons for your meteoric rise was to do with the fact that TikTok was getting flooded with Andrew Tate content, literally top G everywhere. But now that's not the case. So how do you actually keep people coming back to the real world, which was once obviously Hustlers University, right? How do you get people coming back and, you know, make sure they know that we are still here? Yeah, so TikTok have gone, so have Meta, so have Instagram, so have Facebook. Being banned I'm banned everywhere, right? And you're right. They don't like people saying anything nice about me. They don't like my voice. They don't like a still picture of me. Nothing. Literally it's crazy. Nothing, all I do is I make it obvious to people that the platform exists. And to further go down the rabbit hole of why that platform does exist, it's not for me to make money. I can resign now. I can retire now for the rest of my life if I wanted to live semi-sensibly. If I stopped buying 3 cars a week, I could probably still do that for a good 10 years. But, you know, I could calm down and live a very nice life. The reason I have the real world is the same reason I have the war room. Because when I talk about all the problems I talk about, the astute members of the populace will sit and say to me, okay, then what's the solution? Andrew, you're right. You're right. The legal system's a joke.
They're out to keep us all enslaved. We're not allowed to have an opinion as a man. We live in a matriarchy. My job hates me. What's the answer? And I'm a little bit disappointed in myself that I've only come up with 2 answers so far, but they're the only answers that have ever worked for me. And perhaps there's another answer that's better than the ones I have. But the only answers I can come up with, in fact, 3 answers, I apologize. There's one, God. You need God. That's the most important thing. The second is you need money. And the third is that you need brotherhood. And I believe if you have those 3 things, you become much harder to be damaged by the system. When I go to jail, I can call my brother and make sure that my women and my children are taken care of. I can have someone to look after them. I have a bunch of money so they can be taken care of. I can get the best lawyers. I have influence. So when they lie about me on the BBC, I can tweet and call them a liar and get more views than the BBC does.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
More views than the BBC. Andrew Tate, this. I can just say, lie, fake news, boom, done. So I can fight against them. Well, how do I fight against them? I fight against them with my influence, which is based on my brotherhood and the people I work with inside the war room and the money I have, and God. So when I created the real world, the primary objective is for people to learn how to make money online so they can escape the matrix. Because if you have a job, you're going to be controlled. If you have a job, you can't have an opinion anymore. You can't talk. You can't say certain things online, you'll lose your job. You can't not get the vaccine, you'll lose your job. You can't not wear a mask, you'll lose your job. You have to obey, you have to comply, or you can't pay the mortgage. If you make money for yourself online, you're now harder to control. So when they come along with their infantile ideas and try and force you to perpetuate and purport them, you can sit and say, no, I'm making my own money, you're a liar. So that's the reason I made the real world, and that's the reason I made it so cheap, $49 a month, so people can join and learn how to make money online. And the reason there's the war room is because of brotherhood, because I believe that if you analyze any period of human history, including Genghis Khan, as we just discussed, it's always been about brothers. What was Genghis Khan? It was a bunch of his boys, a bunch of your boys, get on a horse.
And just conquering.
Yeah,
literally.
bro.
Yeah,
we
just
still do
conquering.
it.
Yeah.
You and your boys, you all get together, you go
Go
to the
out in the
club, you get
cars,
some
yeah.
girls. It's the same.
Yeah.
Everyone gets on a horse. Let's ride that way. What's over there? Don't know. Who cares?
We'll find
Just
out.
go,
We'll
yeah,
take
it.
Yeah.
So brotherhood has always been what conquest is about. And it's also always been a small band of brothers to resist evil. Let's say when Genghis Khan got to Vienna. I'm not going to discuss who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. It's just the natural law of the universe that conflict appears. But the people who were defending Vienna were what? Brothers. Brotherhood. Get your sword. Who are they? Let's go. So if you're in a war, and I believe we are, and I think anyone who's looking at life as anything other than war can't be competitive and is destined to be decimated. If you understand you're in a war, then you need brotherhood and you need money. What does Ukraine keep asking for? Money. You need money to fight. And you need men you can count on, which is why I have the real world that teaches people how to make money online, and the war rooms you can join a fraternity.
You have the men.
That's right, because I believe if you start to make a bunch of money and you get a bunch of men you can rely on, you then become much harder to enslave. That's the reason those 2 things exist at CobraTake.com, and that's the reason I tell people to join them. And it's not because I'm philanthropic. I want to make it clear. I know the world thinks I'm the nicest man ever. But they don't think that. I'm just going to say it. But it's not because I'm philanthropic. I'm not going to sit here and say, I'm trying to help you guys at home. No. If you're a broke loser, you can stay a broke loser. That's completely fine by me. My cars need washing. You can wash them. Don't care. But I don't care. I don't care. But if I'm going to try and crack the matrix, I can't do it by myself. So I want all of the people who agree with what I say and think like I think
Crack the matrix together.
to be rich. Andrew, you have 1,000 fans. Do you want poor fans or rich fans? I want rich fans.
Rich fans, yeah, of course.
Andrew, you have 1,000 fans. Do you want them to all know each other and be part of a brotherhood and be part of a fraternity, or do you want them to be independent and isolated?
Know each other.
To know each other.
Yeah.
That's all it is. I'm raising an army. I'm Genghis Khan. Get on the horse, guys. Get on the horse.
Let's go.
We're going to fight. And you can join, and I'll make your life better by extension. That's one of the greatest things about my brand. I think it's probably one of the reasons I have no problem with the fact they're going to throw me in jail, etc. Because I know I'm living for a purpose. I know that, just like you said earlier on this podcast, if you're an Andrew Tate fan, your life improves. And that's a good feeling. If you're a fan of a normal streamer, your life doesn't improve. If you're a fan of Logan Paul or KSI or these idiots, well, then what do you get? You get sugary drinks and WWF. Great. You don't get anything. I know that if you're a fan of me, your life genuinely improves. And in the karmic circle of the universe, all of that positive energy will end up back with me. There's no way you can take thousands, perhaps millions of people and make them feel more dedicated, more motivated, more happy, more positive, more inspirational. You can do all of those things. and not benefit from it in some way. Whether they put me in jail or not. There's good vibes in the universe. I'll pick them up. It's fine. And I'll walk out, tell the BBC, hello, speak to Lucy. No big problem. So I'm very proud of myself because I know I'm doing the right thing. And that's the reason I refuse to shut up. Because if I was only entertaining people, I could shut up. Okay, there's no point going to jail to make people laugh. No, but there is a point in going to jail to make so many people's lives better. So as a professional, to go back to why the real world exists and how I get people to go there. I don't try and sell it to anyone. That's actually a really good point. It's a good question you asked me.
Because I'm just trying to see.
No, but it's a good question because if I am a billionaire and I am obviously monumentally financially successful, and I've just explained to people at home why I want them to join, because I want them to be rich. I have a vested interest in them being rich. Your university professor does not have a vested personal interest in you becoming rich. He doesn't care. He's doing a job. I have a vested personal interest in trying to make my fans as rich as possible. Never else in your life is a billionaire going to care about making you money, ever. Only now. It costs less than a Nando's. It's $49 a month. If you still don't join, well, then you're a dumbass. And I don't want you to join anyway. So I've mentioned it enough times, I feel. And I also feel like now I'm at a point where I'm above getting people to join. It exists. And if you're not a loser, you'll join because you want to save your life. And if you don't want to save your life, you want to stay a slave, you can go stay a slave.
But I'm trying to come at it at a point where, for example, you were once the most Googled man on the whole of the earth.
Yeah.
Right? And all these things, the TikTok clips, the podcast, everything, Instagram accounts, Twitter, whatever you name it, they were all a big funneling system for that.
Yeah.
And now where there's the cases, these platforms have banned you, apart from Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's like, how can you get back to being that most famous man, the most Googled man on the earth?
I don't know if I need to be anymore because, unfortunately, the idiot who made that documentary was incorrect. I'm not chasing fame. I'm doing what I believe to be right. I'm going to speak to the people I want to speak to. I wanted to see you. That's why we're doing this podcast. I get 10 podcast requests a day. I don't do them because I need to do them or I want to do this one. So I'm doing it. It's fun. And the people who join the real world who want to be freed from the matrix will join. If nobody joins, that's fine. I don't need the money. We have over 200,000 students anyway. I mean, I know what you're saying. I don't wake up and think, how do I get views? I don't care anymore. I wake up. I do what I'm supposed to do. I train hard. I see my children. I work. I make a bunch of money. If I have a platform to speak on, I'm going to tell the truth. If I tweet something, it's going to be the truth. And God will do the rest. And it is what it is. And the only reason these things exist are to help the people at home be valuable fans of mine. And I think that's an important point in terms of fans. I want to have valuable fans. If I'm going to raise an army, I want men who can fight.
Yeah, you don't want brokies.
Yeah, I don't want. Yeah, if you're going to raise an army, do you want a bunch of men who can't fight? No, you want men who can fight. So if you're going to join my army, you need to be able to train, work hard, and be able to fight. I don't want to go to war with a bunch of idiots. So if you're sitting at home and you're working at McDonald's and you can't escape the rat race, you're not much good to me. So then why are you watching my stuff? Why would you sit here and watch me speak for hours?
And then do fuck all about
and then,
it after.
And then not go and join the school and get rich. Like, you must be out your mind. But there are people who do this. And there are some people who you just can't help. There is a huge percentage of the populace which they're beyond saving because they're the worst thing you can possibly be, which is a quitter. Being a quitter is the worst thing you can possibly be. God himself can't make a quitter important because the only reason the place you're trying to get to has value is because it was difficult to reach. If everybody could reach it, there'd be no value. Value is linked to scarcity. The whole point gold is valuable is because it's not everywhere. If it was everywhere, it wouldn't have any value. The reason the place you're trying to reach is valuable is because people can't get there. So if you're the kind of person who quits, you're never going to get there. Quitters are the worst. You could give a quitter a map, a treasure map, and a hot air balloon and say, it's going to take you right to the treasure. It's going to be a 7-day journey. Here's a sandwich. Yeah. And halfway through, they'll be like, oh, I'm cold.
Yeah, you just said it, 7 days? Nah.
Yeah, and they'll quit.
Yeah.
Quitters will never make it. And there's a huge subsect of the populace who are basically simply quitters. I've never in my life seen anyone who's determined to get something not get it. I've never seen somebody who is determined in their heart to get something, not get it. The universe and God is so giving and providing People think it's difficult out here. I disagree. I've never seen someone wake up and say, nah, this is all I care about. This is all I want. Not get it. Everyone who thought that way in fighting was a world champion. Everyone who thought that way about money was rich. I've never seen anyone fail. Bro, I've seen people with no credit score and no job determined to get an R8 manage to get one on finance somehow. I've seen it. If it's all you want, you're going to get it.
You're going to find a way to get it.
You're going to find a way. Yeah. People go, oh, I want this. If you wanted it, you'd have it.
Literally, I spoke to a man who had done a podcast with recently, and he was saying, if someone had a gun to your children's head and said to you, the only way I'm going to move this gun is by you making $1 million, you are going to make $1 million.
100%.
Yeah.
You're going to be motivated for the first time in your life. People often say, if you try your best, it's okay to fail. But what they don't understand, the true secret to the universe is that if you try your best, you never fail.
Yeah.
That's what people don't understand. And most people aren't trying. They aren't trying. They don't know what trying is. In fact, that's probably one of the things I hear the most. I used to hear the most because I don't talk to people anymore because they all annoy me. I'm trying. No, you're not. You don't know what trying is. No, you are not trying. I know you're not trying. I know, because as we sat here before we went to speak, you weren't on your phone working. You weren't trying. You were standing around talking shit to some idiot. You're not trying. People are genuinely not out here giving their absolute best, because if you were, you'd have everything you've ever desired. You'd have anything you've ever wanted and asked for. Instead, what people do is they cope and convince themselves they're trying. Oh, I tried, but I need a work-life balance, and it's hard, and I was trying. All garbage, all cope. And like I said earlier, life is war. If you're a man and you don't view the world as war, I can't imagine how you view the world. My entire worldview is war. I was actually having this conversation the other day about why I avoid extreme sports. I was with some girl, and she's like, would you ever jump out of a plane with me? I'm like, bitch, no.
Why do you avoid extreme sports?
Well, because my life is extreme. But my life is hard. I'm at war. If your life is extreme and you're already at war, the last thing you want to do is jump out of a plane. You want it safety, calm. I want to be left alone.
You went skiing like last month or something?
I went on a snowmobile.
Okay.
Which is,
just driving around, cruising.
I wouldn't consider that extreme, but she was talking about would I ever jump out of a plane. I said, no, absolutely not, because my life is war. And she said, what do you mean? I said, well, you're hot. Every man wanted you. I got you. I won. That was a war. My Ferrari, everyone wanted it. I bought it. I won. That was war. Along with all the residential properties I own, along with the commercial properties, along with all the domains I own, along with fighting the matrix and the legal system, that's all war. When you see something beautiful, it is war. When you see a big tree, people go, wow, big, beautiful tree. And they don't realize that that was a war amongst saplings.
As you said last time.
Where there was 30 little trees,
Top
and
G
he just
tree.
tried to destroy all the trees around him so he could grow bigger and everything else. It's war. Life has always been war. So why would I want to go start jumping out of planes? No, I want security team and a big gate and safety. I said to her, she goes, oh, but what do you mean your life's extreme? When we leave this establishment, we are going to walk to my car. There are 2 professional armed guards with me, and I am still with my head on a swivel. You're just going to walk to the car because you're a chick. Do. I think leaving the establishment and going to the car is a battle I must win. Because I have to get out, I have to look, I have to make sure I'm not going to get killed,
Coast is
I have
clear.
to get in the car.
Yep.
There's so much going on. You want to jump out the plane because you don't understand that. You think nothing's going on.
Yeah.
For me, my whole life, it's all problems. It's stress. Leave me alone. I'm not jumping out of any planes. I'm not climbing any rocks. I'm not swimming with sharks. That's all for people who don't have enough stress in their life. If you wake up and decide you want to swim with sharks, you are lacking stress, which means you are not trying very hard. Because if you were trying your absolute best and you were important and the Matrix wanted you in jail and your enemies wanted you dead, the last thing you would want to do is go swimming with fucking sharks. You must be out your mind. It's insane. It's crazy.
Yeah. I want to come back to a point where you mentioned, you said you only go on podcasts that you like. So you're here now and I appreciate your time.
Yep.
But sometimes it does make me chuckle though. I see you go on podcasts where I think to myself, why, Andrew? Why? That was a full-on Matrix attack. Why are you going on, maybe Piers Morgan to an extent, but that Lucy from BBC, why do you do that? I'm thinking, why?
Well, yeah, the MSM now have to pay me $50,000 and a sandwich.
And bring it, chocolates.
Yeah, so they have to give them to me. If it's a female reporter, she has to bring me a sandwich. And I haven't had any mainstream media news articles since. I did Piers, actually, to be honest. And the reason I did Piers is I wanted to educate him on Palestine. He needed to be told the truth.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. I was told not to do that from very important people. Andrew, don't say that.
What, like in your team, something, or?
Not in my team, just from around.
Okay, yeah.
Don't say that. don't poke that question, don't say that.
No, big
But
respect to you
I had to. But
And it's interesting. What I will say on the back of that as well, even though I looked at it and I was like, okay, cool. Andrew may not have the top echelon education like Mohammed Hijab would have, but the way he stuck it on Piers Morgan for that, I was like,
I know what right and wrong is.
Yeah.
I know what murder is. I know what genocide is. And you're right. I don't need the ins and outs to point out the genocide, the insanity of it all. And I don't interact with the MSM as much as I did, but conflict also creates interest. I don't think the MSM or my haters understand that I wouldn't be anywhere near the echelon I am if it wasn't for the hate. There's no light without dark. If everyone loved Andrew Tate all the time, then it would be boring. 95% of people love Andrew Tate. 5% of people can't stand me. And they are such an important part of the fuel. Rocket fuel, I have no idea if this is true or not, but I'm going to say it because I'll make it up. Rocket fuel can have two primary components, right? You can have liquid oxygen, liquid nitrogen. Where you have the different boosters on the rocket, and you see that one booster ejects and another booster fires, which means the fuels must be different. They can't be the same fuel. They're probably in the same tank, meaning I was right all along. There you go, proved. So you need the different things together to get to space. So if the MSM come along and I know it's a matrix attack, but I know I'm going to destroy them, then I'll do it. The thing is with these people, I'm not afraid of these people. Imagine being Lucy from the BBC. The story of Lucy is as follows. When I first went to jail, on my jail phone, I ended up speaking to my PR team, and they said, this girl Lucy wants to come give you an interview, and she wants to tell the truth about your case. She doesn't want to matrix attack you. I said, that's a lie. Yes, she does. And she goes, no, she wants to ask about why you're in jail without charge, how men shouldn't go to jail without trial, how this is a violation of your human rights. She wants to ask about what life's like in jail. She wants to make it very interesting. I said, who does she work for? And they said, the BBC. And I said, the BBC do not want to do anything but matrix attack me. So anyway, they convinced my PR team that this was not a matrix attack, and they came in friendly, and they sat down, convinced it was not a matrix attack, and we had cameras running in the background, which they didn't know, and then they instantly matrix attacked me and tried to make a fool of me. Lucy even admitted on BBC Radio 4 at a later date that she had been rehearsing for 2 months for that interview.
Really?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Imagine rehearsing for 2 months, setting a man up, lying, pretending it's going to be a softball interview or an interesting interview. It's not even softball. It'd be interesting to ask actually pertinent questions, and instead matrix attacking him, and off the top of his head, when he just came out of a jail cell for 93 days of solitary confinement, getting destroyed. These people must hate me. Of course they hate me.
It's interesting.
I just sit there and make a fool of them.
They even took down the interview after as well.
Of course
the second
they did.
you released your one, because they released like a 15-minute version of it, and obviously your one was like an hour and a half or whatever it was.
It's like SEAL Team 6 breaking into a man's house and them all getting beat up with a spoon.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that I should have won that fight. There's no way I should have won. They're the BBC. They had prepared. They'd set it up. She had rehearsed. They lied, saying it was going to be completely different questions. I just got out of jail. I had mental health problems. I couldn't sleep. I had bad nightmares. I've been in solitary confinement. All this. And I come out, I win. Of course they hate me. I'd hate me. Of course all they're going to do is print garbage about me forever. So why did I even do it? I guess the reason I did it is because I always have a parachute. I always have a bungee cord of brutal competence. And that competence has come from conflict, and I'm very well versed. I can argue any point. I can argue when I know I'm wrong. I can argue the sky is green. I can argue anything. There's no point I can't argue. And I have that backup. And I guess, I've said this before, I think it's probably the least discussed superpower on earth is being able to speak well.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about it. People talk about being strong. Great. People talk about being rich. Okay, fantastic. But being able to speak correctly and properly and very well is a completely under-discussed superpower. It's the reason I refuse to learn another language. I've lived in Romania for 7 years. I know 3 words. And people say, why don't you learn Romanian? I say, because I don't know English yet. When I know every single word in English, I'll learn Romanian because English makes me money. I don't need to learn Romanian. It doesn't make me any money.
Genuine question. Have you ever been media trained?
Never.
Never?
Never.
So the way you speak, the way you articulate yourself is just literally...
Practice.
Been like that.
But it's not, in fact, correction. It's not practice. It's feedback. A lot of people practice things all the time and stay terrible. I had a guy say to me, in the war room, we actually do this training. I train the guys in the war room how to speak better. And that's one of the best things you can learn in life. And that's one of the reasons the war room is so valuable, because at the war room events, we do specific training for this particular task. And the guy was saying about how his business has improved, how much more money he makes, and how much better he is with girls, and et cetera, et cetera. And I was saying, yeah, okay, fine. But the reason I speak so well is not because I'm practiced. because this man was older than me. It's like, you've been speaking longer than I have.
Yeah.
It's not practice, it's feedback. If you don't analyze what you've done, then you're not going to identify your mistakes and where you can improve. I will watch this podcast back 10 times, and I will realize all the times I stuttered, or all the times I had to repeat myself, or all the times I didn't use a word I was supposed to use. And that's why next time I do a podcast, it'll be better than even before. And that's also a lesson you can take and apply towards life. You can apply the feedback aspect towards life. Practice alone will not improve you. Practice is going to build habits. In fact, from fighting, I know this very well. If you allow a student to come and learn bad habits at the beginning, it's very hard to get out of them. This is why most people, when they talk on podcasts, are saying, I can't even listen to that shit. I'm like, you don't even speak English? Why are you sitting down? You don't speak English?
Why it's so hard to get your point across?
Well, if you can't get your point across compendiously and you can't articulate yourself in a concise manner, how do you expect other people to affiliate with your worldview? Or one of the superpowers of life is thinking something and making somebody else think the same.
Making someone else believe you.
Oh, sorry, police, lover boy. But sitting there and making somebody agree with you, or at least making them understand why you think how you think, is a superpower, surely.
Yeah.
And it's massively misunderstood and underrepresented and not used, and it's not practiced and it's not versed. And I think also, I'm actually kind of curious, I've thought about this myself, how useful it will be into the future when the AI comes along and controls us all. You know what my biggest fear of the machine minds are?
Go on.
My biggest fear is that people will be as smart as me. That would piss me off. I like being smarter than everyone. I don't want a bunch of people to have Google brains that are smarter than mine. I'm supposed to be the smartest guy in the room. That's going to annoy me.
I don't think that'll be the case. I'll tell you why. Because the way I see it is going down the conspiracy hole, yeah? It's like everyone will be trapped and they'll be fed the information that the Matrix want them to have.
I know, but what if they can get words from the dictionary as quick as I can? Like, I had to work hard for that. Now they're just going to get a microchip. That's a cheat. It's going to piss me off. I don't want that to happen. Hopefully it happens when I'm already gone. But yeah, being able to speak is a massively misunderstood superpower that a lot of people need to understand that can drastically change their life. But you're only going to be able to do it if you apply feedback to it. And the same is with absolutely everything in your life. Not enough people look back on what they did and identify where they made a mistake. And some people will do it when they lose. But the true professionals do it when they win. When my dad was playing a chess game, if he won the game, he would still analyze the game and see if he could have lost, where it could have gone wrong, how he could have won faster, what mistakes he did make, what he did well, what he did wrong, win or lose. So many people will sit in a scenario where everything went wrong and go, in fact, correction, not so many people. I would say 75% of people will not ever self-analyze the situation they're in. They'll blame everyone else. If they went to jail like I did, they'd say, they put me in jail because they're liars and the Matrix did it. Fine. True. But when I was in jail, I was like, how did I get here? What did I do? What did I say? Who did I piss off? What institutions want me in jail? What did I do that angered them? Me. I'm taking absolute self-accountability for everything. I'm not blaming anything else, because if I blame everything else, I have no control. If I blame myself, then I can influence it. I have control over it. So 75% of people blame other people, or they blame other things. I lost my business because of COVID. No, you lost your business because of you. I lost my girl because her friends were hoes. No, you lost your girl because of you, and you lost your car because of you, and it's all your fault, because that's the only thing that gives you control and power. The other 10%, we said 75, that's 85, no, it has to be much higher. Let's say the other 20%, which brings up to 95% of the total of the populace, will look at a situation in which they lose, and they might self-analyze, and they might try and learn from the loss, and they'll try and find the feedback involved in the loss to make sure they don't lose again, which is obviously better than not analyzing at all.
At all, yeah.
And the top 5%, the absolute highest echelon, are people who are going to analyze every decision they've ever made, win or lose. I analyze my wins as well.
See where you went right.
See where I went right, see where I went wrong, see where it worked. You need to analyze your whole life. Your life needs to be feedback. You need to sit and it's over 10% into the year now. I wonder if anyone who made a New Year's resolution sits and says, it's over 10% into the year. Am I at 10% of my goal? Because your stupid ass said you were going to be a millionaire when you were drunk on New Year's Eve. Well, you need to have 100 grand saved. Do you have 100,000? Have you even done the feedback on your own goal you made 30 short days ago to realize that you're nowhere near it and you're not going to make it and you're a loser? No. Oh, I got the rest of the year, and then wonder why they fail. You should have a daily target.
And then it's just a full-on cycle for them yearly.
Of course.
Going to be a millionaire next year, and then
Of course,
never do
and
it.
then they just lie.
Yeah.
So you need to constantly feed back and analyze your life and take time out of scenarios. I do this all the time. There's been times I've got up out of bed and I've got ready and I've got my keys and I've got my phone and I've stroked my dog and I've had my coffee. I downed it quickly and it was just the right temperature, so it wasn't too hot and it wasn't too cold. And I got in my car, which had already been started by my security team, and it was already warm. And I got in and I was out the door. I was like, I got out the door in 6 minutes. That's like 2 minutes faster than normal. Yeah, that was good. What did I do good? Well, the coffee. The coffee wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold. Usually it's too hot and I have to wait. Or it's too cold and I want another one. The coffee was just the right temperature. When was it made? And I'll check the message where I sent them to
Check
make me
the
a
time.
coffee. And it sounds crazy, but I'll analyze how I left the fucking house while I'm driving. I'll be like, that was fast. That was good.
How can we do
well
that again?
done.
Yeah.
I want to do that next time. People don't feedback ever. And they don't analyze the way they speak. If you're the kind of person who can't speak properly, you're the kind of person who doesn't analyze their own behaviors in life. That's what I would say. If I see somebody who can't make me understand why they think what they think, I'm going to sit and say, okay, well, you're not the kind of person who analyzes their own life. Now, do I trust you? Because let's say we start a business together and it all goes wrong. Are you going to come to me and say, I made a mistake. I can do better. This is the mistake I made. Or you're going to sit and say, well, the environment was hard. It was a hard business environment.
Wasn't in my control.
Yeah, some garbage and just cope. You know who the worst for this? Oh, I'm going to jail. Here we go. Going to jail. Women. Women take no self-accountability for anything. I'm a misogynist. It's true. No, they don't take self-accountability for anything. And they don't because they don't have to. Because they are blessed with beauty from God. So they have a superpower, which is their beauty. And their beauty allows them to get away with being completely lacking self-accountability, because as a man, you have to be competitive. And the only way you can truly be competitive in war, which life is to be self-accountable, to blame yourself for everything, because that puts you in the highest possible mind state to compete against everyone else who wants the things you want.
For sure.
So you have to, as a man, self-analyze and be self-critical.
Your every move.
Every move. But as a woman, you don't, because you're hot, right? So they're not good at it. And I'm not insulting them. They're just not used to it, because they get to blame other people and blame everything else because their beauty allows them to get away with it. And that's the reason I said, my girlfriend said, would you ever let me drive your cars? I was like, never. Never, ever. She goes, why? I am a good driver for a girl. And I said, yeah, and my 4-year-old's a good speaker for a 4-year-old, but I wouldn't put him in front of a stadium to talk. So it doesn't matter how well you could drive for a girl. You're a girl. But that's not even the reason. The reason I wouldn't let you drive my cars is not because I think you're going to crash. I do. But that's not even what it's about. If I lent my boy a car, if I lent a man a car and he crashed it,
He'll take accountability for it.
he'd take accountability for it. He would come to me and say, there was a crash, this happened, I'll fix it, I'm sorry. Even if he believes it wasn't his fault, he would still, if he's the kind of guy I know, have enough self-accountability to go, this idiot pulled out of nowhere, but I was speeding. I was going fast, it's a fast car. I'm gonna fix the car, I'm gonna get it sorted, I'm gonna pay for it. If a woman crashes the car, that's not what you're going to hear. It wasn't my fault. You don't understand. It wasn't me. He pulled out, and I didn't do anything wrong, and he pulled out. And I'll be like, well, how are you going to fix it? I'm not going to fix it because he pulled out, and I didn't know. Why are you yelling at me? This isn't my fault. And I'm left with the mess. So why am I lending her a car in the first place? I'm left with the mess, and she's going to say it's not her fault. She'll crash into a tree by herself, and it wasn't her fault. The tree
did something.
Bro. It's
Top
clown
G
world.
tree.
So anyone who's not self-accountable, I don't trust. So back to, let's avoid the women's subject because it always gets me in trouble. Back to men. If you're a man who's not self-accountable, I don't trust you. So if you're a man who's making a mistake as permanent as not being able to speak and convey your ideas correctly, well, then I don't trust you as a person. And that's probably the best thing about money. People often ask me what the best thing about being rich is. And there's not much that's good. Private jets are good because it's convenient. It's like getting an Uber. There's no airport garbage. Supercars are fun. I love supercars. But most other rich stuff is garbage. Like caviar's crap. Champagne's crap. What do rich people do? Golf,
I tried caviar one time, and I thought it was
croquet.
disgusting.
It's all shit.
Yeah.
I don't like, one of the best things about being rich is I don't have to talk to anyone I don't want to talk to. If someone comes to me and goes, Andrew, we can make a lot of money together, but I think they're a nerd, that's what I talk to them. It's great. I don't want your money. I would rather not have money than sit and talk to a nerd. You're a dork. Oh, you're a vegan. Get fucked. Oh, but we'll make money. Don't care. I don't want the money. I am principled now, which goes back into my earlier point about why I want my fans to have money, because if you have money, you're principled. If you're a brokey, you'll sell your soul, which is why I don't want my fans to be broke. That's why I have the real world so they can join to make money, because if you are broke, you will say, I'm not a fan of Andrew if it benefits you financially, which means you're no good to me in a war because now you're a traitor. I don't want that. So one of the best things about being rich is I get to be exceptionally principled, and I get to also not talk to anyone I don't want to talk to all of the time, which I do truly enjoy. It's one of the best things about it.
As we were just speaking about off camera in our little break, we were talking about assets being seized, right? Yeah. So Romania, here you had a load of cars. You had supercars, M5s, tuned cars, all that sort of stuff. And they took all of them, right?
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but they've still got at them.
They've still got them now, yeah, currently. And we're in court to try and see if the seizure is legal. Because the law, as we discussed earlier, isn't subjective, of course, and it's not dependent on how famous you are. Of course, it's very fair. So we're going to discuss that. And if I get them back, that would be nice. And if I don't, it doesn't matter because I have 40 more. So.
And you're still buying cars, and once again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard you say that they're trying to seize the new assets that you're buying. Like, for example, you pull up here an SF90.
Yeah, they are. It's very interesting. I do still find it strange that as we speak, right now, there are people in a room somewhere trying to destroy my life. Think about that. I hope none of you are in that position yet, because you'll get famous and rich enough and it'll come. And I hope none of you are in this position yet. Maybe you are and you don't know. As we speak right now, there are people who are paid a wage in a room somewhere on earth looking at me thinking, how do we wreck his life? How do we take his stuff and put him in jail? That's kind of a scary thought, no? Isn't that kind of crazy? If you knew there was 10 professionals in a room trying to destroy you. So I'm sure they're trying to take my car and my fancy watch, but they can't take my charisma or good looks. So it is what it is. But you have to find ways to protect yourself legally, which I've done my very best to do. But yeah, they tried to take my new cars I acquired after my prison sentence. And you know what? I'm not even emotional about it because I have two schools of thought when it comes to things like this. Part one is I'm too principled a man to be involved in a matrix attack. So if I was a prosecutor and they came to me and said, put this man in jail, I'd sit and say, well, I don't want to because I know this is a matrix attack and I know he doesn't deserve it and they're only being attacked because of his massive fame and influence.
Unless the prosecutor is part of the matrix as well.
Exactly. I'm principled, but most people aren't principled. Or even if they have any degree of principles, because they need to pay the mortgage, because they have to do as they're told for their job to pay their bills, everything I discussed earlier. Yep. They're not free, so they have to. So part of me is, well, I'm too principled to ever do this to me, but I kind of understand why they do it. And then part of me is far more spiritual about it all and just kind of understands that since the dawn of human time, every king everywhere has been at war. If you have a kingdom, there are people who are even if you're not directly at war, there are people who are testing your borders. There are border bandits coming across the border and raiding the small villages along the fringes of your empire, stealing gold, trying to see how fast your army can react. You're constantly under attack. There's never been a king who got to draw his lines and just got left alone.
Yeah. Don't work like that.
It doesn't work that way. So if you want to be a king, you have to have war. So part of me understands why they're doing it. I don't know. I still find it so strange. Me and Tristan will sit there and go, isn't it weird? We're having a coffee and there's people trying to put us in jail. It's just weird.
Literally, as we're doing this podcast right now, there's another room somewhere, whether it's in Romania or another part of the world, where they're just thinking, right, what are we doing? What's the next step? What's 100%. The next plan?
And they're gonna watch this podcast if they're professional. I mean, if they're any good at their jobs, I guess they're gonna watch this. And I find that so interesting. It's like, hi guys. And you think I'm a criminal, and I'm not, and see you in court. It's really weird to me.
At the same time, though, wouldn't you say that some of these podcasts, even though you're depicting everything that they assume about you, wouldn't you say you're also giving them ammunition?
Probably. Just like I said, when you get rich, you can give them ammunition by having a girlfriend or driving a car or talking. I could disappear and shut up, but isn't that exactly what they want? That's why they're doing it, my friend. So am I giving them ammunition? Yes. But I'm also not doing as I'm told. Their primary objective with all of this garbage, do you think they really cared about TikTok accounts? No. Their goal was for me to go away. Make him go away. We've tried to ban him and it doesn't work, so make him go away. So I refuse to go away. Hence why they're still trying. So yeah, am I giving them ammunition? Probably. Because I can say anything and they'll use it as ammunition against me. I just say words. I can say the sky is blue and it's ammunition against me. That's the reason you don't talk to cops. But I believe that in the end, everything's going to work out. I know who. If someone were to come to me and say, Andrew, you're under suspicion for having a Long Johnson, I'd say, shit, they know. I've got to hide the truth. But if they came to me and said, Andrew, you're under suspicion of human trafficking and manipulating, I'm like, oh, great. Okay, so you're trying to prove a fallacy. So you can spend all your time, and yeah, you can find me say something misogynistic online. You can find me have a fast car. You can find money. You can find pictures of me with girls on a boat. And you can, in your mind, because you have this picture, think they're all related. But I know the truth is, I just bought a fast car with my perfectly legal income, and a bunch of girls came on my boat because I'm handsome. So I'm not really that concerned because they're trying to prove a fallacy. But it's still an interesting chess match, I guess. Would I be bored without it? Is life cooler? Is life better that way? We talked about how I'm improving all these people's lives and it's emitting karmic orgons that I'm absorbing with my Aikido, making me stronger than ever before because of all the lives I've improved. Perhaps it's not even just about improving lives. Perhaps it's just about the fact that there are people dedicating their existences, dedicating the calories they burn from the food they eat towards my name, whether they like me or dislike me. There are full-grown adults who get up in the morning and butter toast so they can have enough energy to sit down and focus on Andrew Tate. That's gotta be a benefit. Even if they're sitting in the room going, we need to put him in jail, we need to put him in jail. Keep eating your toast, keep buttering your toast, because those calories you burn are mine. It is all mine. I'm like Shang Tsung. I've taken their souls, I've absorbed it. Whether they like me or hate me, I don't even care anymore. I've also decided I live in a mirrored ball. So my mirrored ball, which I've decided, can absorb all the positive orgons through it, which make me more powerful than ever before. But I've noticed that my biggest haters are so bitter. They hate their lives. Because when you hate somebody, you're the one who swallowed the poison. If they don't care whether you exist or not, they win, right? Apathy is a superpower. My haters try and send negative energy my way, and it just bounces right back and ends up in their heart because they're like, he's a bad guy. And then everyone loves me and my life is fantastic. And they get mad about that fact. And they end up just hating their lives.
It's funny because, do you know, it's so funny because one of the guys, a guy I speak to here and there, not like a great friend or anything, but he's not a fan of you.
People don't have to agree with everything I say. They don't have to like everything I say. They don't have to like everything about me. I think that's the true mark of a professional. Like, I can sit with somebody and hate 95% about them, but the 5% I do like is valuable enough for me to sit with them. I can sit with people who I think are idiots or I disagree with in many regards. However, they have that one attribute that makes them worth speaking to. To sit and say, Andrew Tate, oh, he's disgusting. He said women can't park. So you don't want to listen to anything I say about motivation as a world champion athlete, or mindset as a billionaire, or business, or finance. You don't want to listen to any of that because you're upset that I said women can't park. Well, then you're a dummy. Well, then you're a dummy, right? Because firstly, women can't park. And secondly...
But you're too stuck on the hatred bit for you to learn anything.
These are bitter, hate-filled people. Hate, I know it's a bit of a cliche, but it's true. Hate never comes from above. If I've ever been unfortunate enough to see the face of one of my haters, I totally get it. I'm like, bro, I get it. I totally get it. I remind you of the guy who picked on you your whole life. I get it. I'm big and cool and strong and smart, and you're a dork. I totally understand. Anyone on Twitter or these anon accounts who hate me, etc., bro, I get it. They are nobodies. Nobodies. And they can't pay their bills, and they're sad. And they try and attack me with it. But maybe what's the word I'm looking for? Is it petty? Is it immature? I'm not sure, but when I see these little nerds, like, I hate you so much, it just makes me happy. I don't know. I can't. I'm just like, I wouldn't say I love it. I'm like, I know you do. If you're not hated, if you don't have haters, what have you achieved? If there's no one on earth who doesn't dislike you, then you must not have an opinion. You must just be neutral, like goo. You can be the best thing on earth. You can be T-bone steak. Somebody's gonna not like T-bone steak. Most people do, but there's always going to be
Well,
someone
one
who
person who
doesn't.
doesn't, yeah.
Maybe you can become some form of gloopy porridge in the middle that no one likes, no one hates. You're gloopy
just
porridge.
there,
It's
yeah.
just there. But if you want to be T-Bone, there's going to be some idiot who comes along and goes, "Oh, this is terrible." There's going to be some idiot. The world's full of idiots. That's fine. But I'd be very concerned if I didn't have haters. And I'd be very, very worried if the MSM weren't trying to attack me. I kind of feel like that's the perfect proof that I'm on the right path. And I also find it quite flattering that these governments, with all of their problems, of course they don't care about the people, but they'll divert genuine resource to trying to destroy my influence. I find that quite flattering. That means I must be effective. I must be doing a good job telling men to go to the gym and don't listen to the bullshit. So yeah, it's very interesting.
What do you imagine the world to look like in 5-10 years' time? As I mentioned earlier on, you got AI and you got the Apple Vision Pro, and eventually they're going to come out with sunglasses like the ones you're wearing now that have every little thing that you need to see in front of you. So what do you imagine the world to look like? Is it a scary place, or is it a thing of where it's interesting?
It's a good question. And I'm going to tell people how I came to my answer. I think the best way to predict the future is to study history. I believe in times of old, let's go back the last 3,000 years. If you were a king, your life was pretty good. Or it was as good as life could be. To be a king, you had power, influence, money. That's what you had, and you were a king, and you lived a good version of life. If you weren't a king, you were an average man, a common man. And I think the world is cyclical. When you were a common man 2,000 years ago, you were effectively a slave, and life was terrible. And then that was the same all the way up to perhaps the 1930s, 1940s. Being a common man was pretty terrible. And perhaps it was the war and the massive loss of life. Perhaps it was something else, I'm not sure. But I kind of feel like there was a golden period between in the 50s to 60s to 70s to 80s, maybe even the 90s, where being a normal, hardworking man, because life is cyclical, went from being a terrible existence to quite a good existence. In the 60s, you could be a normal man who worked in a factory, an unskilled labor job, and with one wage, you could afford a house, you could afford a car, you could afford to raise a family, your children would not be taught garbage in school, your wife would respect you, you'd have a home-cooked meal.
Times were good.
Times were good. All the things I said about playing Uno earlier in hyperbole are true. What matters most? Your wife loves you, you're respected as the breadwinner, your kids respect you, they listen to you, your house is clean, your house is safe, your car works, your life is good. And I feel like, because it's cyclical, those good times are over and we're going back to where it was before. The kings have always been fine, and we always will. But if you're the common man, I think that the good days are over. And I think it's going to get harder and harder. Inflation is going to absolutely decimate your spending power. Now, inflation doesn't damage me. Inflation doesn't damage me because I own all the assets. Inflation just means houses get worth more money. Inflation just means Bitcoin and stock and land and houses all go up. Inflation means my car collection is no longer worth 110 million. It's now worth 300 million. Whatever. I own everything.
Inflation is amazing for the rich man.
100%. I love it.
But for the broke man,
you're done.
You're fit.
You're done.
You're finished.
Because inflation is meaning your money is worth less. And it's going to take more of your money to buy a house. And your wage is not going to increase at the rate of inflation. It's becoming more and more impossible for you to own assets. For us asset owners, inflation's fantastic. So the common man is about to get wrecked. I think inflation is going to make it exceptionally difficult. I think AI is going to make most jobs worth less than they already currently are. If you're a newspaper writer or whatever,
AI is taking that.
AI is going to take that in the next 10 years. And you're going to, if you still have a job, it's going to be only managing the AI, which means you're going to be paid even less than you're currently paid. I think life is about to become exceptionally difficult for the people in the middle. I think the good times are over. I think it's going to go back to the feudal system of kings and serfs and peasants. And I think if you're a normal, average person now, you should feel deep fear and panic and understand that you have a certain amount of time to get into the higher bracket of the social class before these hard times come. And the most scary thing about these hard times is, I have no real evidence for this. It's just in my mind. I feel like the gap is going to permanently close. In olden times, let me think about this thought, because In olden times, the chance of turning into anything more than a peasant when you were born a peasant was effectively zero, unless there was chaos, unless there was a war or some great catastrophe, which allowed social mobility for you to go to war, win, get a knighthood for bravery, get some land, and change your social mobility class. But there had to be war and chaos for you to escape, because without the chaos, it's kind of like a prison break. When all the rules are being adhered to and the prison is operating as it should, you're stuck in your cell. But if there's a prison riot, you have a chance to escape, which means uncertainty and chaos are required for the difference in social mobility. And that's always been the case. But now I feel like with AI and certain other things, although there's going to be instability in the world, although they're going to continue to lie to us, I feel like the Matrix is going to gain enough control to keep us all in our pods or in our 15-minute cities, or our electric cars will be turned off, or we need to get our bug rations for the week, so that there can't ever be enough true chaos for you to escape. There won't be true social mobility, and I feel like there's going to be a close. The people who are rich now, their bloodlines will be rich for a very long time. And the people who are poor now, if they don't get rich soon, in the next 10 years or so, they're never going to get rich. You're never going to get rich. The prices of houses are going to continue to go up. Prices of land is going to continue to go up. Inflation is going to continue to happen. Your wages will not catch up. It's going to get harder and harder for the average person to ever stand a chance of owning any assets. Yeah, it's now or never. Yeah. It's almost impossible right now. How does the average person on an average wage buy a house in London right now? Yeah. It's almost impossible already. I think in the next 10 years, it's going to become truly impossible, and they're going to use AI to keep the gap closed. And what's interesting about that is, well, I'm in the rich team, I guess. But what I find most interesting about that is the socio ramifications of the fact that I think this is quite pertinent to most average people. I think most normal people understand. If you were to ask them, how's the economy? They'd say, well, it's impossible. I can't pay for my bills. I can't pay to eat. I can't afford a house. I can barely afford my mortgage. I'm never going to get rich this way. They understand all of this, but they're not panicking. Why are you not panicking? The Titanic just hit the iceberg. You may not be in the water yet, but it's a certainty. There's nowhere else to go. It's going to sink.
It's going to happen.
Panic now. Don't panic at the end with everyone else as they go into the icy depths. No, I would argue if I was on the Titanic and it got struck by the iceberg, I could have got a lifeboat nice and early. Now, I wouldn't have women and children first. I'm just using this as an example. Analogy.
I know where you're going with it.
I could have gone to the top deck when no one else was panicking and said, you know what, I want this. I want to go on a lifeboat. No, I don't feel comfortable. I want to go on a lifeboat. And the guard probably would have said to me, you don't need to go on a lifeboat. It's no big deal. I said, yeah, but please, just give me the lifeboat, or here's some money or whatever. I want this one. Give me this one. Everyone started panicking at the end, and there was no lifeboats left. And people are sitting here now going, oh, yeah, the economy's bad, but, maybe if we vote for this person, don't want to swear. It's haram. Who are you going to vote for that's going to put money in your pocket actually come along and say, here's money? Nobody. You still got to pay your council tax. You're still a brokey. Nobody cares. No one you vote for is going to change it. It's going to get worse. It's going to continue. And you know the boat is going to sink, and you're not panicking. That's why I kind of catch myself. And one of the things I try very hard not to do is become elitist. Because when you've come from the absolute bottom to the absolute top, and you've done it all off of your own back, and hard work and dedication and never missing a day, the only shortcut to life is to never miss a day. One, because of compounding interest, and two, because sometimes you get lucky. And you'll never miss a lucky day if you try every day. If you don't try every day, you might miss your lucky day. And that's what people don't understand. If you never miss a day and you never don't try and you're always on time, was I late today? No, on time, and you try and improve every aspect of your life, and you're a professional, and you try and make sure that you analyze your decisions, you give yourself feedback, you don't make mistakes, you're not lazy. If you try and you make it to the top, you end up elitist, because you look at the people down below and you're like, well, why didn't you try? I did. Oh, I did too. No, you didn't. That's a lie. Now you're lying to me, and that annoys me. And you catch yourself being very elitist, and this is what's scary about it, because I'm from a Luton council estate, and now I have all this money. But if I meet somebody who's truly broke, I'm not talking about you not have hundreds of millions, but if I meet somebody who's broke, I think they're an idiot. And I catch myself going, is that bad? Am I elitist? Or do I sit down now and I just say, no, I started lower than you and beat you. How are you poor? You're lazy.
Okay, fair enough. I was gonna say, why would you say if they're an idiot if you were once in that position as well?
No, I was, but I got out. And I think there's only three reasons you can't get rich in the world today, which is either you're stupid, you're lazy, or you're arrogant. And I find the most common one is lazy and arrogant. It's not stupid. There's nobody at home who is too stupid to become rich. I'm sure anyone watching this podcast right now, if you were to sit down next to me and I were to say, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, you could do it. Of course you could. But you're too lazy to learn how to do it yourself.
And you're too arrogant to listen.
And you're too arrogant to listen. It's not about being stupid. You're lazy or arrogant. It's one of the two. Those are the two most common factors of people. So when I meet people who have truly failed and they pretend to me that they didn't want to fail, I know they're one of the three. And it's usually arrogant. Because when I sit and say to them, you could have got out, they don't say, you're right, I could have got out, I didn't try. That shows humility. They don't do that. They say, no, because it's excuse, someone else's fault, the Matrix's fault, no self-accountability. Oh, well, you don't know what you're talking about anyway. Arrogance.
Sounds like feminine mindset to me.
Well, yeah, exactly. And then they're going to lose.
Yeah.
So I catch myself being elitist, and I try very hard not to be because I don't consider myself a rich man. I'm a poor man with lots of money. And what's scary about being elitist is if I'm from a Luton Council estate and I have a bunch of money now and I see the common man as a lazy idiot, imagine how the elites see us. And then you start to really go down the rabbit hole when you understand these people who've been in charge of the world for a very long time, who own the banks, who believe they're genetically superior to us because why not? Their families always owned the bank. They can be a fat loser, but they just believe they're something because why not? They have a big boat, so that's just what they're going to believe, isn't it? Imagine how they view the common man. You think they give a shit about you or your family or your income or your wages? You think they care about you? You think they're going to make life easier for the common man in the next 10 years as you've just asked? Or are they going to continue to decimate your lifestyle for their own forever profit? There's no light without dark, which is a basic fundamental law of the universe which can't be broken. And especially as these large companies want forever profits, which they do, and they own everything. Like, I don't think many people understand. If you go into Sainsbury's and you look around at the brands, you will struggle to find 10 brands that aren't owned by the same company.
Yeah,
the whole thing's owned.
Yeah.
The same company that owns Sainsbury's owns every brand. They own everything. So if they want forever profits, which they do, they're not going to do that without
owning everything.
Well, and also you have to take that money from somewhere. If they can make you poor so they can get richer, they will. If they own all the assets, they want inflation. They want inflation. They don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care you can't feed your family. Why would they? So, and you can also look at it from a global perspective, which is quite interesting. Because America was built off the back of World War II. World War II made America rich. But Europe, for the longest time, got rich off the exploitation of second and third world nations. That's how it got rich, by building empires in Africa and Asia, etc.
Colonizing countries.
Yeah, colonizing countries. That's how they got rich. And now we have populations in Europe and in the West which are decadent, and we want high wages, and we want maternity leave, and we want holiday pay, and we want good working standards, and we want good working hours, and we want nice chairs to sit on. Now we're entitled. And if you're a company and you need slaves, do you want entitled slaves, or do you want slaves who are just going to do their job for low pay? And then you start to understand why immigration is being unchecked on purpose, so they can bring in people to try and work jobs for basically nothing, who don't want standard of living and don't want standard of work. And what they're effectively doing now is, instead of exploiting the second and third world to benefit Europe, the globalists are now decimating Europe on purpose so that they can live somewhere else. And okay, that's going to prop up the economies of the second and third world, so the whole thing is reversed. Instead of destroying the second and third world for the benefit of Europe, they're going to destroy Europe, and that's going to benefit the second and third world. But they're globalists and they don't care. All they care about is forever profits. They'll go live in Saudi. They'll go live in Mumbai. They don't care. They're not tied to the land or tied to the place like the average European is. So if you're the average man in a European country and you're not financially free and you're stuck somewhere in the middle, not only is your life going to get harder, but also the place you live in is going to get worse. Your wages are going to go down. Crime's going to increase. All of these things are going to happen so that the people in charge can get their forever profits and avoid all the mess they make. And it's all done purposefully. If I was an average person, I'd be genuinely afraid. I mean, it's easy for me because I have so much money. okay, I'm currently restricted in Romania and I'm under a matrix attack and they'll put me in jail, blah, blah, blah. One day I'll get out and one day it will be over and I'll still be a millionaire and I can look at the map and go, where is safe? Tokyo, cool. Done. Most people can't do that.
Yeah.
They can't do that. They're stuck. And the fact that that doesn't bother them or they don't panic, I find flabbergasting. I mean, the iceberg has struck the Titanic. How long can you have a border where people can arrive by dinghy and throw acid in people's face until your nation has fallen? How long will you allow this to happen until you realize it's done?
It's done.
It's done. And how long will you sit there and get hit by endless bills that continue, inflation that wrecks your currency, wages that don't increase, new taxes with ULEZ cameras, unchecked immigration for people who don't have a passport, crime rates increase? Bro, I said this to Tristan. We were saying how we miss England because we're English in our hearts and part of us miss it. And I was saying, you know what? If I lived in England, I couldn't even protect myself. I have guys here with guns because I'm currently on bail and I can't carry a gun. Otherwise, I'm strapped all the time. If you come to my house, there's a big gate and there's pit bulls and there's 4 guys with weapons, guns. You need SEAL Team 6 to get in my house. There's bulletproof doors and I have a gun next to my bed. I'm the final. It was gorgeous. And I thought, it's worth 20 million. For 12 million, it was worth
Bargain.
it. Bargain.
Yeah.
And I was like, Tristan, if we bought this house, the problem is we couldn't even protect ourselves because eventually someone will work out it's our house.
It's just like it's just like all the footballers.
Of course.
All the footballers, when they go to play matches, they all get robbed.
Bro, eventually someone will work out it's our house. The only way you can protect yourself in the West now is to hide. I was like, we can buy this house, not put it in videos, not put it on social media, not invite girls over, because you know what will happen? You'll invite a girl over one day, and she'll say, I'm coming with my friend Lucy. Not from the BBC, a different one. But like, okay, Lucy, she comes. Lucy turns up. She's a 7. You don't talk to Lucy. Nobody likes Lucy. She sits around. She's a 7.
She sends the location to everyone.
She knows. Next weekend, she's out sniffing coke with some dickhead. And she's like, I was at Tate's house. No, you weren't. Yeah, I was at Tate. I was looking at this picture. Where was it? Here. Boom. Bam.
That's
now
it.
they now know where your house is.
Location's
they start
dropped.
talking about it. Mr. Bugatti, Mr. Diamond Watch. I'm sitting in my Radlet house. There's fucking 25 windows, 6 door entrances. I'm like, Tristan, we can't even hire armed guards. Who could we even hire to protect the house? I could come along with $1 million a month contract. I'd end up with G4S, some old man sitting in a little box. And when they rock up, 20 dudes with blades, it's over. You can't even be rich in England unless you want to hide.
Tell me this, yeah?
I wear a $400,000 watch in Bucharest, Romania. In London, I can't wear it. In London, I don't wear it. So we're talking about how the nation's failed. You could be rich in England and you're still not safe. You still have to pray they don't find you. You have to live like a hermit, like a cockroach under a rock and hide. Or maybe you get a chance to call the police before they chop your wife's hands off. Oh, that's great. That's how fallen this nation is. And there are people there with no money. They're not even rich like me. They have no money. And they're sitting there going, it'll be okay. Maybe if we get Rishi Sunak out and get another one in. No, it won't. No, it won't. It is a failed society. You need God. Revert to Islam and move to Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, none of that will happen to you.
This is what I was going to say. So tell me, picture this for me. Paint me this picture. The case was dropped. You're free to go wherever you want. You get on your private jet tomorrow. Yep. Where do you tell the pilot to go? Well, I'm talking about to reside, not just holiday.
Yeah, to reside.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's interesting because I really, truly believe the Western world has fallen now. And one of the things I prioritize now in my stage of life is safety. I don't see the point in anything if I'm going to end up killed. And if you're going to kill me, at least the Matrix has to kill me. At least make it a cool story. He was telling the truth. He did fun podcasts. They assassinated him. Make it good. I don't want to die because some idiot wanted my watch. You know? Yeah. I don't want to die for that. And I feel like the whole Western world is that dangerous now. I make this clear. When I go to London, I'm probably the most nervous. I don't know how anyone lives in London without feeling nervous. I'm so nervous all the time. And it costs me such an exorbitant amount of money. If me, my brother, and a couple friends go to London, we'll jet from here, that's 50 grand. And then there's 4 of us, that's 4 rooms, and we'll want to stay in a 5-star hotel, so that's 2 grand a night, so that's 10 grand in hotels. And then I have my security team there, it's 3 grand a day. So it's 13 or 14 grand a day in hotels and security, 50 grand to get in. Then I'll go shopping, of course, normal. But even when I'm walking around Harrods, my head's on a swivel. And I've got 3 dudes with me who are 6'8". And I'm still like, and then you'll hear about someone get robbed just outside Harrods while you're in Harrods. You're like, how do people live in this city? And they're just living there like, oh, it's not that bad. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I've never had that. This is the capital of the poorest nation in the European Union. I've never had any problems here. I drove a Bugatti around the streets. I parked my Ferrari on street corners. I wear a $400,000 watch. I've never had anything. Yes, I have security. Yes, I had armed guards. But for the years before that, I've never had any trouble.
What's interesting about it as well is that these things stand out from the crowd. Obviously, I've been here for a couple of nights now, and you don't ever see a Ferrari, Bugatti, Lamborghini, or anything like that. So when you see Tate in his Ferrari, you know.
Yeah.
So it's very easy. If this was like London, your target, 100%.
Oh, bro, 100%. This is my point. Lucy would give the location up and I'd be a target and I'd be decimated. So how do you have a nation where you're not allowed to be wealthy without hiding? Where you can arrive without a passport? Where they can't catch people who decimate people's faces with corrosive substances? Where there's people in a room, those who are supposed to be designated towards enforcing law and justice, trying to put me in jail because I said women can't park. This whole thing is a clown show. This whole thing is a clown show. And only God can save us now, my friend. I don't know what the West is going to do. But this clown show is built on the back of the taxes of the hardworking average man. You're the average man. Not only is your life fucked, not only is your future fucked, not only are your children going to be finished, you're paying for this. You are paying for all of it. And then, if you ever get to a point of finance where you don't have to pay for it as much, or you can escape, one of your ex-girlfriends will call you up and demand money. And if you don't give it to her, you go to jail. What planet are we on? The Western world has fallen, and empires rise and empires fall. This is the cyclical nature of the universe. That's fine. But to sit and try and pretend it hasn't fallen is hubris. It's being an ostrich and sticking your head in the sand. And the smartest thing the average man can do is realize that yes, the Western world's fallen. And 2, you have 10 years to get into the higher class, the higher social mobility class, or you and your bloodline are eternally finished forever.
Yeah.
Which goes back to a point I said earlier. If I'll teach you how to make money online for $49 and you understand you have less than a decade to save your entire bloodline and you do not join, well, then you're a loser. And your great-grandchildren will wake up one day in their slave pods eating the cockroaches and they'll ask their mother, why was granddad a loser? Why didn't granddad try and save us? And you're going to have to sit there and come up with some answer for them. You're going to have to say, oh, well, he was busy.
Try and justify it somehow.
Justify it. He was busy. He was jerking off the Pornhub. Oh, he was busy. It was hard for him. It was a bad economic climate. Give a bunch of excuses to your bloodline as they continue to be slaves forever and washed my children's cars. Fine. But if you have a brain, you're going to understand you're running out of time. You're going to fix it. Especially if you understand the nation you're in is sinking. The Titanic you are on is about to sink. Everyone in England, it's done. It's over. It's done.
So where do you go?
Good question. I like...
Before your arrest, you was in England, but before that, you was in Dubai for a few months, right?
I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere. And I guess that's one of the best things about being rich. And that's why these globalists will destroy nations for profit. Because they don't care. Because in every nation, there'll still be a nice part, right? So a globalist can come and fly and land his private jet at a private airport, Biggin Hill. He doesn't even have to land at Heathrow. And he can go for 2 days and see Windsor Castle, and then he can get back on his jet, and then he can go to St. Moritz in Switzerland, and then he can go to Riyadh, and then he can go to Tokyo, and then he can go to Maldives. And that's a fun 3 months. You don't need a house. If you have a house, it's just to keep your clothes on.
Your house is your jet.
Your house is your jet. So things are different when you're rich. And also, since I've been raided 3 times now, and people I care about have been raided by the British police only a few days ago, and any address you have is only a target for the enemies. You don't own that address. Oh, this is my house. My house is my home. Bet it's not. Boosh! Please! What? Your house is your home. Muddy footprints everywhere, and they turn the whole place upside down. They search everything, and they go through all your private things, go through all your private stuff, and guess what they get to do after that? They steal everything they want. Steal this, steal that, steal. They just rob you.
Yeah.
So they come, they rob you. My house in Romania was robbed by the Romanian police. Houses in England are robbed by the English police. Why do I even want a house? You know what I want? I want a phone, a laptop, a backpack, a car. I don't want a house anymore. So you're asking me where I'm going to live. I don't know. Because now I don't feel comfortable owning a house. Because every single time I get a house, sooner or later, on a long enough time frame, friends come to visit, it seems. So I don't enjoy having a house anymore because that feeling of home, that feeling of security has been destroyed. The sanctity of a household has been destroyed for me so many times. I don't feel like I don't have the homey feeling. In fact, I feel most comfortable somewhere transient. I feel most comfortable in a hotel room. And I look around and go, if the police kick this door in, they're going to steal the coffee sachets, and they're going to steal the TV remote, and they're not mine. And I don't care. I've got my pillow, got my bed. Don't care.
So why don't you do?
So I don't want a house. I don't want to live anywhere anymore, which is kind of scary, but this ties into how the globalists think. They all think the same as me now. Why do I need a house? If we have a house, it's an investment. We won't buy a house to live in. We'll buy a house as part of a real estate fund. And we'll buy a house in the south of France for $26 million, and people will rent it off of us, and all the money will go up the chain through our various shell companies for our real estate funds so we can hold wealth and outpace inflation. We don't buy a house to live in. I live in 5 stars, and I'm going to live in 5 stars forever because it allows me to, 1, be geographically free, and 2, bro, they're after me. It's
you
scary.
gotta go from bounce place
Where
to
do
place.
But you find safety in that, and I think so do the globalists, and so do the people at the top because they understand the Titanic is sinking. They're the same as me.
Do you feel like because they're after you, you have to bounce all the time so they can't get you?
I don't think it's just that. I think it's that when you understand how this world really works, and when money has no value to you anymore, and you're truly absolutely rich, you understand the advantage of not being geographically tied down. There are opportunities happening in Tokyo right now that people cannot take advantage of because they can't go to Tokyo, or they can't live in Tokyo, or they can't be in Tokyo. And it's the same in Kuala Lumpur, and it's the same in Mumbai, and the same in Dubai. When you have geographical freedom, you have a lot more opportunity, which is the first thing. Second thing, I would say it protects you to some degree. But thirdly, and most importantly, the reason the globalists do it is because they're destroying nations in real time, and they don't care, and they'll just go wherever it's safe. But for me, you're saying, where would I move on my jet once I'm free? I don't know, but I don't think I'm going to stay still probably. I don't know if I'm ever going to have a house again. I don't see the point in having a home, because home and the idea of home is that it's yours. And I have learned through experience that
it's not yours.
It's not mine. It's not yours. And anyone at home who thinks, oh, I got my house and I'm going to work hard and pay my mortgage and I have my live, laugh, love thing, and I have my sofa, and I got my remote, and I have my comfy chair. It ain't yours, bro. It's not yours.
You know what you should do? You've seen Air Drake, the plane that he's got, 787, full private jet, massive thing.
Nice.
That would be your house. That could be sick.
That would be nice, yeah. But then you kind of go deeper down the rabbit hole, which I always end up doing. They can seize jets, they can seize houses, they can seize. All you truly have is your soul and your state of mind. Like, you don't have anything else. If you had a state of mind that meant you didn't fear jail, and you had a soul that meant you knew you were doing the right thing, that's the only way you're free. Not because you stay out of jail. Staying out of jail doesn't make you free. Having a house you can hide in like a cockroach so the robbers or the government don't know where it is doesn't make you free. What makes you free is, I'm going to tell the truth, and no matter what they do to me, I'm going to be happy anyway. I'm happy in jail. I'm fine with jail. Put me in jail, and the prosecutors can all sit around and high-five each other. I don't care. You didn't win, because I'm happy anyway. I don't care. And I'm more famous than ever, so I still win. So that is freedom. Freedom, truthfully, is developing a mindset where the worst they can do to you doesn't hurt you. Kill me then. Kill me. But I don't know where I'm going to go once I'm free. I have no idea. I don't know where I'm going to live once I'm free. I have no idea. I don't know if I'm going to live anywhere ever again. I have no idea. I don't know. I'm just going to have to play it by ear, I guess. And I will say this. There is a strange sense of homelessness that I do feel. Because when your host nation, which I consider to be England, I'm part English, part American, but I left America when I was very young. I consider myself British. When your host nation attacks you and abandons you, it's a strange feeling. I want people at home to understand that. Imagine you were raised in England, you're British, you've spent your whole life watching Coronation Street and eating fish and chips and saying, you can't park there, mate, and everything else, like everyone else. And then, because you have a point of view, members of parliament, the BBC, which is state-sponsored media, the mainstream media establishment, everyone turns on you and starts saying you're the devil. And please understand, if I was telling kids to chop their dick off, I wouldn't be the devil. Then I'd be celebrated. So if I was actually Satanist, if I was actually the devil, I'd be celebrated. And when you actually tell the good things and tell the truth, you're the bad guy. When your whole country, not a few people, turn on you, your whole country turns on you. It's kind of a sad feeling. Imagine all the times you had a best friend and they turned on you and started talking bad about you. Imagine how that made you feel a little bit. Imagine your nation doing that to you. Imagine your whole country turning on you. And it's kind of crazy because if I was from Azerbaijan and I was this famous and this influential and this many people listened to me, I'd be royalty. I'd be hanging around with the president. And they'd say, good job. Yeah, you did great for Azerbaijan. Thanks for telling the truth. But because I'm from England, and England is run by Satanists, it seems, and they're not a Christian nation anymore, it seems, because everything I'm preaching is Christian values. What am I saying? Work hard, dedicate yourself, don't give up, don't listen to the garbage slave program. Yeah, it's all the holy books. This Christian nation is so threatened by me that they've completely turned on me and have instructed prosecutors to try and destroy my life. It's a very strange feeling, and it does make you feel sad. The same as losing a best friend. Losing your country makes you feel sad. Because Romania was my adopted home. They've done to me what they've done to me. We can go down the rabbit hole as to whether they were inspired by the Americans and British or if they did it themselves. That's one conversation which I can't have yet. The other conversation is whether I stand a fairer chance in a Romanian court because it's less politically charged than an English court.
Quick question there off that. Though you said you can't have the conversation yet, do you know the answer?
Yes.
Okay.
So Romania was my host nation, but this has happened to me here. Okay, so you have a strange longing for home, but if your home is run by psychopaths who hate you ideologically, what do you do? It's really weird. I can't explain. It's a strange feeling of homelessness to be super rich and can go anywhere, but you have no home. And every house you've ever bought and tried to turn into a home has been decimated by law enforcement. Imagine it. Every time you go and you set up a little house somewhere else, you're like a refugee. You're like a refugee. Your nation hates you. You're a refugee. Your nation hates you. They attack you. You know you've done nothing wrong. But you say, okay, I'll go, I'll move, and I'll start a little house over here, and I'll have a woman, I'll have kids, I'll have a family. My children live here. Boom, get on the ground and please. Okay, let me go over here with my family, my kids. Let me put my kids here.
Same thing.
Get on the ground, get her. Like, bro, what the fuck am I supposed to do with my life now? It's scary. And then you could sit and go, well, do I just shut up so they'll stop doing this to me? Or do I just continue to talk so I can tell everybody that they're going to do it to all of us? And that's the real question. I kind of feel like the men who avoid war think that war will end. But no, you just ensure your decimation and extermination. If you avoid to fight, if you wake up and say, I refuse to fight, you don't end the wars. You just make sure you lose. That's the difference. This war is coming for everybody. If they don't do this to me, they'll do this to someone else. In fact, they're probably doing it to many other people right now. I'm just the one with the biggest voice. So the reason I allow this to keep happening to me is because I understand that if I shut up, I don't stop it happening. Even if I stop it happening to me, maybe, I don't stop it happening as a whole. It's going to happen to anybody who tells the truth. Anybody who speaks up and has a large enough platform. Your ability to speak freely is directly correlated to your insignificance. Don't forget that. It's very important. And that's why I feel like instead of cowering out, I need to highlight it. And I feel bad not for me. I feel bad for the mothers of my children. I feel bad for my 3-year-old kids. I feel bad for them. They're the ones I feel bad for. I'm a man. I'm a man. Put a gun in my face. I'm a man. Kids and women. These are innocent bystanders dragged to jail cells by prosecutors for justice.
This is the angle
for the good guys. The good guys, right?
This is the angle I'm looking at because it's like you are the man that they're coming after, but they're the ones that are also going to have to face the...
Well, here's the thing that's so interesting, right? Because that's the attack vectors of a powerful man has always been the same thing. When we said earlier about why rich men get in trouble, and I said girls, attack vectors will always be identified by your enemies, and the primary attack vector for any enemy is a girl. Give you an example. Story we just told earlier about Lucy at my house. How did the bad guys with the machetes find out where my house was? A girl. If I have enemies who want me dead, let's say I've annoyed the Turks and I'm in London, I know how to not get caught, but the girl with her Instagram story, with the corner of the napkin, didn't know. Now I'm toast. Right. She tits a selfie up in the hotel. They recognize the hotel. Now they're waiting outside. Toast. If I had to catch and find someone and he knew I was after him, I'd just find who his girls are. Who's he fucking? Boom. Follow them. And
Yeah, it's easy.
bro, it's easy. It's so easy because women have no OPSEC.
It's
They
funny
don't-
'cause
none,
I've seen
and
it
they
firsthand as well.
Bro, they care more about their Instagram likes than your life.
Yep.
That woman you're in love with, that woman you'll do anything for, cares more about getting likes on her Instagram than you getting stabbed to death. Because if you say to her, don't post that, there's people after me. Well, it's just a picture. I gotta get my likes. Likes aren't even money. They're not even money. We mean likes.
Who gives a fuck?
Who cares? They're gonna kill me. Oh, but it's a coffee cup. It's cute, bro. And you're in love with her. And when you die, 6 months later, she'll be in my brother's bed, bruv. Wake up. But women are the attack vector. So it's also the same with law enforcement. Andrew Tate is a bad man, but he's smart and he's sharp and he's got all his things in order and we can't pin him down. Not because I'm bad, because I'm innocent. But they don't believe that. They believe I'm just that good. I am that good, but I'm also innocent. So what do? Let's drag the women in here. Let's threaten the women. Let's sit his wife down, or one of his wives, or one of his girlfriends, and let's start telling her how often he cheats on her. Let's start showing her pictures of him with other women.
Let's try and manipulate her.
Let's show her, let's lover boy method her.
They're hypocrites.
Let's sit her down and be nice to her and try and convince her to do something. So they're hypocrites because they do lover boy method. This crime. They sit your girlfriend down and say, you were with him on the 10th of February. You know on the 11th of February he was fucking this girl? Boom. You know he bought this girl this? Boom. You know this? Boom. And they just sit there like snakes and rats and just say, he's a cheater, he's bad. What's he ever done to you? And she'll be like, well, nothing. Okay, but does he ask you where you go? She goes, well, yeah, if I go out, he asks me where I go. Okay, controlling behavior, manipulative. Bro, they just fucking make it up. So women are the attack vector. So how do you avoid this attack vector? Well, be gay. Have no kids? Die alone? Well, you can't. So you have to have women around you, especially when you're rich, you're gonna have a bunch of beautiful women around you. So they're the attack vector for your enemies, for the law enforcement, for everything. So the women who are around me, yeah, they get caught up in the crossfire because that's how the enemy is gonna try and get to me, whether it's the bad guys trying to kill me or the law enforcement. And I have to say to my women, listen, there's no light without dark. You fly on private jets and you get to drive around in my Bugatti and you get to stay in 5-star hotels and you get to go for golden facials that are 6,000 pounds at Harrods a day. You get all of that, yes. And sometimes these idiots are gonna drag you down to a police station and say, why does he give you so much money? And you're gonna have to explain to them, my facials are expensive. What do you want me to do about it? That's the game. But the fact that these evil people think they're doing good, dragging women into rooms and wrecking their lives, is crazy. But if you look at the biggest, most heinous acts ever done in humanity, it was by people who thought they did good. And this is where we go back into feedback. Because if I was a police officer, if I was a prosecutor, I would have enough cognitive ability to sit and say, am I the good guy here? Am I actually the good guy? No, I'm the police. That's Matrix mind. That's clown world. Actually use my brain. I'm dragging innocent people into rooms. I'm putting innocent people in jail. I'm questioning innocent women who are just getting presents from their boyfriend. I'm fucking with this guy who's never hurt me in my life ever. And they've already been fucked with by the Romanian government. He's clearly innocent because they're about to let him out and he's not in jail anymore. What am I doing? Okay, I'm getting my wage, but what am I doing? Am I fighting the good fight here? But they don't even have enough feedback, enough self-analysis, or they're so arrogant that they'll look in the mirror and they'll put on their shirt every day. Yep, police. I'm the police. You're a dummy. You're the police. Go catch the guy who put acid in people's face. What do you mean they're the police? You dumbass. Yeah. You put fucking my baby mama in jail. Bro, clown world. Clown world. We live in a joke. We live in a clown world. I don't think people understand that every single thing that you believe in at home, the medical system, the judicial system, the financial system, the educational system, you name a system, it's a joke. The shit they teach in school's a joke. The money's not real. Law's not real. It's all they're the things you rely on. You need these things. You need them to educate your kids. You need the money to be worth something. You need the law to be fair. And it's all a scam. All of it's a scam.
It's like life as we know it is a scam.
It's a scam. Yeah. And then you sit down and go, okay, well, if that's true, what do we have left? What do we do, Andrew? And I go back to my original answer. You need brothers who will die beside you because that's all life's ever been. When things get hard, and when I say hard, I mean really hard, The best thing you're going to have is a brother who will die beside you. Your woman can give you emotional support, but she can't do much else. When things get difficult, women often become a burden. If you're walking down the street and a terrorist attack happens, heaven forbid, you'll wish you weren't with a chick. Because being with a chick now, come on, let's go. And you have to carry her, right? Because they're slow and they're like, oh, my heels, and they're a fucking nightmare. You have to look after them. If you're with your boy, bro, shit, you feel better.
Yeah.
You feel better.
Straight on site.
You're on site, yeah. Men help you. When things get hard, men around you are going to be your number one asset. It's always been that way. When the horde arrived at Vienna, it was brothers with swords who were ready to die by each other that defended the city, and vice versa to attack the city. That's what you're always going to need. Women may be able to say to you, good job, keep going, but they can't do much else. And in the hardest times, you don't have time for motivation. You're motivated by self-instinct and self-preservation. So you can deal with all that crap afterwards. So if you're a man and your primary friend, your best friend, or the person you're relying on the most, or you spend most of your time with is your chick, that's fine. But you're going to regret that when things get hard because you don't have any real backup. I spend most of my time with my guys. And I love my women with all my heart, but my team comes first because they're the ones who will save me. They're the only ones who can save me if I really need saving.
Push comes to shove.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So brotherhood's the most important thing. And money's another important thing like I talked about. But I don't know. It's how do you in this clown world, how do you survive? Like I said earlier, you need the brotherhood because of the reasons I just gave, and you need to have money to get on the highest socioeconomic ladder, and you need God. And besides those three things, I can't find another answer for it because every time I've ever tried to rely on the education system, the financial system, the judicial system, every time they failed me. Every time I've learned what it is. You know what most people don't understand? All of these things, all the systems I've just named, the medical system, we just learned what a scam that was. Get your 9th booster. Fucking clown world. All of these things are just people walking into a room and saying things. And people are fallible. Think how many people you know who are idiots. Cool. That's those people who you think are idiots are the systems I just described.
Yep.
The education system is just someone standing there talking. The judicial system is someone standing there talking. The medical system is someone standing there talking. Just idiots walk into rooms. They've got a badge. The justice system, the police, the prosecutor, who doesn't realize he's doing no good for anybody, that he believes fallacies, that he's destroying people's lives, and he's not a good person. He's actually the bad guy in this story. He's actually the bad guy in this story. Without enough self-awareness, look in the mirror and go, I'm a fuck up. He's going to sit there and go, I'm the good guy, I got this badge.
Yeah, but that's just ego.
They're just idiots. Yeah. Dummies. And then they're going to sit there and go, oh no, we live in a fair world and the law is fair and school's good. They're dummies, bro. What's even scarier is all of these people are not only fallible, but they're very human. And what scares me about the moral decay of the world is that all of these people are involved in the moral decay. So, for example, as certain ideas, let's take one that's a bit vanilla so this podcast doesn't get banned. I could choose one of 20. I'm going to choose a vanilla one. Pornography. It's vanilla. As pornography becomes prevalent, I don't care because I don't watch pornography. I don't watch porn. Why would I? I ain't even got time to service my women as it is. I'm busy. So the last thing I have time for is that garbage. But then most people don't sit and go, oh, but that means your judge watches a bunch of porn. Your lawyer watches a bunch of porn. Teacher of your kids watches a bunch of porn. The police officer who's arresting you for being a bad person was jerking off last night to a bunch of porn. All these people who you need to rely on, who are authority and strong, moral, upstanding characters, and Mr. Dickhead with his badge.
They're all a bunch of wankers.
They're all a bunch of wankers. Correct. That's it. And you can take that, you can take porn, then you can take swinging, or you take homosexuality, or you take all these things, or this sexual, all this moral degradation has infected our institutions, right? So you'll stand there in front of a judge, and the judge watches porn, and his wife gets banged by his best friend because they're swingers, and he cross-dresses, and then he's gonna sit there, Judge Honorable, go to jail. Bro, it's fucking scary. It's all fucked. It's all fucked.
Yeah, that is a scary
world.
It's fucked,
bro. It's fucked. And I'm just sitting there like, bro, and I know that all this shit crosses my mind. So when you remove God from society, you live in godless societies. Yeah, you have the moral degradation, but it doesn't just destroy the populace, it destroys the institutions of the populace. That's the worst thing about it. And now we're living in a society which is so brutally corrupt to the core. The World Health Organization says I need 10 injections of poison, otherwise I'm going to die. And all of them jerk off all day. Every night they jerk off. Bro, they do these World Economic Forum, Davos shit. All these people who are in charge of the world, and they all go to Switzerland.
Yep.
I saw something on Twitter. On the days where everyone flies in for these global economic summits, all the world leaders, etc., the local hooker and strip club are booked out. You can't get a hooker on those days because they're all booked in advance. So the people who are deciding what's happening with you are booking orgies, and all their orgies are organized. The people who call me a human trafficker are going to fuck young girls who are sexually abused for money. And I'm a human trafficker. And it's just like, what clown planet are we on? The best hope you have is to believe in God and find some degree of religious ideology amongst the everyday life. That's the best hope you have, is to find a society where people are afraid of God. Because the idea that the people who are in charge of the world, who told the media machine to convince everyone at home I'm a human trafficker to put me in jail, then all fly and have a big conference to talk about inflating the currency on purpose so they can make everybody a slave, and then they book out prostitutes who were probably touched as kids, and then they fuck them in massive orgies doing God knows what, and I'm the bad guy, and this is all supposed to be okay, and it's all acceptable, and if I mention it, Mr. Plod, the police officer, who also jerks off the Pornhub, is after me with his other prosecutors who all jerk off in the room. It's just like, bro, the world's a mess. The world's a mess. It's a mess. I don't have the answer to these things besides brotherhood and money. If you have brothers you can rely on of strong, upstanding character, and you have hundreds of millions of dollars and you believe in God, like me, you can resist. I'm not winning.
Aikido.
I'm not winning. I'm just good at getting hit. That's all it is. I'm not beating these people. I'm not stopping them coming into my house. I'm not stopping them arresting me. I'm not stopping them locking up my baby mama. All I'm doing is I'm good at getting punched in the face and smiling. I'm good at getting hit. I become tough. That's it. If you get these things, you can resist the oppression with your Aikido. You can take a shot and you can smile back. But that's the best you can hope for. If you haven't got those things, as soon as you get hit once, you're out. And it's done. It's over. And then we go deeper down the rabbit hole. Because deeper down the rabbit hole is, then you learn. One of the biggest things the Matrix tried to do is when they try to isolate you, most people don't understand the effect these kind of Matrix attacks have on the average man's relationships with people. If you're a man with a normal job, and you're doing the normal thing, and you're in the middle, and you're following your job, and you get caught up in some bullshit or whatever, or you tell too much truth and you lose your job, I heard it on the jail phone. Number one argument I heard on the phone in jail was women yelling at their men, how am I supposed to pay the bills? Because women are self-interested. Women are survivors. Me. They're selfish.
Yep.
You're in jail. How do I pay the bills? And the man's like, yeah, I'm in jail. What do you want me to do about it? Well, you're always hanging out with your friends on the street corner, and that's why you're in jail. That's not why I'm in jail. That's nothing to do with it. You've made that up. Well, I can't pay the bills. Then 6 months later, she's fucking someone else, and he kills himself. That's what happens, right? So deeper down the rabbit hole is, not only does the Matrix try and destroy you financially, destroy your influence, destroy your reputation, but they also understand that they do this to you heavily enough.
It trickles down in every single aspect of your life.
Aspect. I'm fortunate because of my brutal competence and because I'm so charming and lovely and I've got a Long Johnson that my women have dedicated themselves to me for life. That puts me in a very fortunate situation. Most men are not in that situation, which actually ties back. I wonder if PC Plod works this out. If I understand that I'm going to be under Matrix attack for the rest of my human years, and the chance of me going to jail is 100%, and I can't resist the forces of evil, I'm just good enough at getting hit that I can stay standing because my Aikido is masterful, and I find a woman I'm truly in love with, why the fuck would I not buy her golden facials, dipshit? Duh! That's what I'm... Duh!
Case solved.
Yeah, duh! Of course! Because she waits for me if I go to jail. Mind blown. Bro, clown world. So if you're a man and you're out there, please understand, if you have a strong brotherhood and you go to jail, you can send your brother over to your wife and he can lend her money and he ain't gonna fuck her, and he's gonna check on her. He's
'Cause he
gonna
knows
check
what
on the
brotherhood
kid,
is.
because he knows what brotherhood is, and he's gonna check on the kid, and there's gonna be a man they can call if there's trouble, and he's gonna pay the rent, and he's gonna make sure she doesn't do anything stupid either. She ain't gonna be able to cheat or run around because he's around. Everything's under control.
Yep.
If you have money, once again, you can take care of your problems. But if you're a normal dude and you get hit, you get punched, you can't do like me. You can't come on a podcast and make fun of these people and laugh it off. Once they hit you, you're toast. Your chick's leaving you, you're losing your kids, you're losing your house, you're losing your job, you're losing it, you're done, bro. Done. And you ain't getting back up. You're getting knocked out and you're not getting back up. So while you're standing, if you're not preparing yourself for this, you're a fool. You're a fool. Everything I've just told you about the world is completely true, and you know it. So after all of this talking, if you don't have the motivation to get rich still, then you're born to lose. You're just born to lose. Then I don't know what to say to you. Wash my car.
Goes back to that.
Wash my
outside.
car. I don't know what else to say to you. Go wash it. Because you're a fucking loser.
Andrew, I know you spent your time in jail reading the Quran, right?
Right.
I want to know, did you ever get time to read in stories of the prophets?
You know what I found most interesting about the Quran?
You'll see what I'm tying into in a second. But go on.
I don't want to get this wrong. I hate getting things like this wrong. But I think it says day 365 times, or days 365 times, and day 30 times as many as there is in a month. And it says month 12 times. And there was all these language patterns inside of it, which it's incredible.
One of the miracles I find fascinating is Allah mentions in the Quran, you know, the ratio of land and water is 71% water, and I think 71%, and the rest of it is land. God mentions in the Quran, it's that exact ratio. Land is mentioned X amount of times, and water is mentioned X amount of times. It gives you the exact same ratio as it is.
And it was recited over 20-something years or something. It's completely incredible. Even to remember to use the word month only 12 times across 20-something years of recitement, 26 or 29 years, it's incredible to me.
So, but what I was going to ask is, with things that the Prophet said back in the day, you know, there will be a time where all these agendas are taking place, and people at the time would be like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Like, nah, man, can't be the case. You know, you got LGBT and all this sort of stuff, and you know, at the time that seemed absurd. So, do you look at it now with obviously life you've experienced and think he's right?
Oh no, absolutely, he's right. And
you see it probably more firsthand than any of us.
the problem is,
I'm talking about people selling their souls. I'm talking about all of it.
So first, let's talk about me selling my soul, because I want to make this very clear. I keep saying this, and I want people to know at home how this works. I was offered to sell my soul. So let me explain to everyone at home exactly how this works. You don't become the most Googled man on earth without them trying to control what you say. The reason all these stupid superstars say the same garbage and don't speak out against injustice and didn't speak out and they won't allow you to become famous unless you do that. I broke the matrix. So once I was already famous, they wanted to control what I said. And it's very simple how it works. They come to you with a sponsorship contract for a large company. And that large company will offer you, let's say hypothetically, let's imagine there's a guy called Top G, and imagine they will offer him 50 million. And they will say, you will take 50 million, but to make sure the brand is represented well, you're going to wear certain clothes, you're going to dress a certain way, and you're going to have certain opinions. You're not going to talk about this, you're not going to talk about that, you're not going to talk about this. If you're asked about Israel-Palestine, you're on this team. And if you're asked about transgenders, you're on this team. If you're asked about things, you change your opinion, and you have to have all these opinions to represent the brand under the brand integrity guidelines. And the good thing about this sponsorship contract is, us as a brand, we spend huge amounts of money advertising in these particular media outlets, which means the media will talk good about you. They'll stop lying about you. They'll stop telling the world you're bad. They'll protect you because they can't insult you because we pay for them via advertising. So what they're basically saying is, we'll get the media to stop talking bad about you. We'll give you a bunch of money, and you'll say what we want you to say, and you become a puppet and a mouthpiece for the Matrix.
But they didn't say this directly, though, did they?
They told me I would have a sponsorship contract. They told me I would have certain opinions to protect the brand integrity guidelines. They told me that I would have favorable reviews, favorable outcome from the media because they sponsor the media outlets. So that's what they say. And they offer you the contract, and you can say yes or no.
So how do you know that that was a form of selling your soul, as opposed to that just being a sponsorship deal, big money? Obviously, they want
What's
to
the
protect their
difference?
brand. So when I say sell your soul, I'm talking about literally selling it to the devil.
Oh, okay. Literally sitting here in front of millions of people and telling everyone it's okay to be transgender. Isn't that selling my soul? Whether I do it for a company or for the devil?
No, it is, yeah, it is.
It's selling my soul. And they tried to get me to sell my soul. When I said no is when I started saying on podcasts, I'm going to go to jail. And guess what happened?
So this was a while ago then?
Yeah, it was a while ago, yeah. Because the only way they got away with the insanity of putting me in jail for no reason was after they spun up the media machine to convince people I'm a bad person first. If everyone didn't think I was a bad person, you can't just throw me in jail because everyone would riot and be like, what is this garbage? So they have to use the media machine to lie to you. So once the media machine started kicking into gear, once I declined their offer, I knew what was going to come. I knew it. So that's how selling your soul works. And I want everyone at home to also understand 99% of them have sold their soul. And you need to sit as a human at home and say, am I going to idolize someone? Am I going to support someone? Am I going to respect someone who has sold their soul to the devil, who will tell my children bad ideas, who will ruin my family because I like their music? I mean, they don't care about you. Do you care about them? Please understand, all of the artists you listen to, all those people on Spotify, all those actors you like, all those sports stars, all those Instagram influencers, all those garbage people you follow have sold their souls. All of them. All. And they have done it for their own personal gain, so they can make millions, and they don't care how they damage society by extension. And you are society. So they have decided to damage you to benefit them. Why are you following them? Why are you going to their football games? Why are you watching their music videos? Why are you going to their concerts? Why are you supporting the people who have sold you out? Because they all have. I want to make this, I'm saying this
I
now.
agree with you
I'm the
completely.
only one they're putting in jail. I'm the only one they're putting in jail. They've all sold you out. If I would have taken that contract, I would have never gone to jail. I would never be labeled a human trafficker. I would never have the bad press. I'd have 50 million extra pounds. I would not have lost 25 million in legal fees so far. My life would be objectively better. My children would be safer. My women wouldn't have their houses raided. All of that, if only I had taken the money. But I didn't.
Do you think once someone sells their soul, they can't get it back?
Absolutely. Once I mean, maybe perhaps you can try and reverse the bad you did, perhaps. But the scary thing about all of this is, once you sell your soul, that's only the beginning. So let's say I said yes. Then I would be invited to a party, which I'd have to go to, part of my contract.
Are you talking about a party on like a private island sort of thing?
Perhaps. Or a party where something happens. And I was there at the time. And there's footage of me there at the time. Something happened and I had to go as part of my contract. And then I'm not told not to tell anyone. Don't tell anyone. And I don't tell anyone because I'm not supposed to and I don't want to get in trouble. But now I have a secret I'm harboring and they know I have it and they're holding it against me and they can blackmail me. And then I get invited to go somewhere else. Do you understand? That's the beginning of it. That's the beginning, my friend. And then you're so far down the rabbit hole that you know the truth. And now, even if you want to tell the truth, how do you redeem yourself? They'll kill you.
That's what I'm saying.
They'll kill you.
When I look at it in the likes of that.
Anyone who's brave enough to face execution to tell the truth is the kind of person who would have been brave enough to say no at the beginning, like me. I'm the kind of person who would tell the truth and get killed. But I'm also the kind of person who would never get there. That's the point. Anyone who ends up there is a fucking coward. And you're sitting at home, jerking off to the Super Bowl's halftime show, like a dummy, and going to concerts when they're in town. Yeah, they're supporting the people who have sold you out, like a fool. Because they all have. They all have. Because if the celebrities with massive voices told the truth, which they know to be true, about economics,
They'll all have cases.
about finance, they'd all be fucked.
Yeah.
They'd all be fucked. How do they get away with doing what they get away with? How am I a human trafficker and these rappers get to run around with endless ratchet chicks and nothing happens? Explain that.
It's interesting because I was speaking to someone who knows someone who's actually sold their soul, right? And this person was saying people sell their soul for different reasons, or they have sold their souls for different agendas. For example, you might have this group of rappers constantly talking about sex and drugs. Yep. And you might have this other person constantly pushing the whole, agendas of society. Yep. and all this. They literally just target people. Okay, what can we do with this person? What can we do with this person? What can we do with this person?
Well, yeah, they'll go to a rap group and they'll say, we think that your songs about sex and drugs sell the most. So here's your record contract, but you need to sing about sex and drugs.
Yeah, literally,
Done.
yeah.
Done. Just like they'll go to these streamers and say, you have to gamble on stream for kids to watch. Here's your money. There's a bunch of different ways they do it to degrade society. The reason they hate me is the same reason they hate Trump. Because no one owns us. And we have our own money. And they can't buy us. And they're trying, and we say no. And it makes them mad. Because they just use money and buy everybody. Because everyone's a selfish idiot with no morality who wants cash. I say I have enough money. You could offer me $1 billion right now to say something I don't want to say, and I'd say no. And they are flabbergasted by that. And it angers them to their core because that's the one tool they've used their entire life to manipulate not only people, the world. They use money to influence the world. We give money to the newspaper to print that COVID is dangerous so that people will buy stock in the pharmaceutical company that we own because they have to have the vaccine. They control everything with money. So when they say, here, do this, and you say no, they're like, what the fuck? No. Whoo. Prosecutor. Get him. Human trafficker. Human trafficker, you just had an orgy at Davos. You just had a fucking orgy. Jail. And then PC Plod, police officer, I'm a good guy. Bro, dummies. Bro, it's crazy. But I have a dream. And my dream is that people wake up and realize all these celebrities hate me. Why do I follow any of them? Why do I talk to any of them? Why do I absorb any of their content? Why do I negotiate with any of them? Because they hate you. And you need to at least have enough self-respect to say, well, if they hate me, I'm just not going to support them. You know?
There is one point there that you said that I will, not say I'll disagree with, but I want to counter it, yeah?
Sure.
So you said, Trump is free as well. And for the same reason why they don't like you is why they don't like him.
Yeah.
I'd argue one thing there.
Yep.
He was once a president. Yep. I'm under the belief, and once again, it's a conspiracy, that at the cost of you being president is also a sales transaction. Okay. So I would say that Trump did sell his soul. Or what do you think?
I would argue that, and I'll tell you what I think happened. Trump was like me. I got famous and I wasn't supposed to. All the traditional blocks that prevent you from getting famous, I bypassed. You need to have a sponsorship contract. You need to have a contract that allows them to put you in movies. You need to have a contract that allows them to play your song on the radio. You need to get interviews with mainstream media where they ask you nice questions. You need to do all this garbage to get famous. I bypassed that, and I can prove it because I got famous via social media. So famous, in fact, that, as you correctly said earlier, TikTok has invented brand new algorithms and built brand new detection software to make sure that nobody can do it again. I was a black swan event, and they said, oh, this person got famous and jumped over all our fences, and now he's telling the truth. So we need taller fences. So now, anytime we decide to ban someone, we can ban their voice, we can ban people talking about them, we can ban a picture of them, we can ban any videos of them, we can ban a cartoon that looks like him, and then we'll ban the account with AI. People spent a year building brand new AI technology because of me.
Just for this, yeah.
Because of me. To make sure that nobody can do it again. They don't want anyone to do it ever again. Trump was the same. Nobody expected him to win. He wasn't supposed to win. The day before the election, they said that Hillary Clinton had a 99% chance to win. And they thought, well, we'll use the mainstream media machine and we'll tell everyone at home that Trump doesn't stand a chance. Don't waste your vote. And that Hillary's going to win. First woman president. She's the best. She's great. And we're going to just psyop everyone. And then Trump won. And they're like, oh, we need higher fences. And then Biden won. Who voted for Joe Biden? No one. I'm going to jail, but it's true. So they just thought, higher fences, let's just rig it. He didn't sell his soul. He came into power. And once he was in power, they used a media machine, which is what they do, using money, to convince the world he was racist, start riots, Black Lives Matter, burn everything down. He works for Russia, garbage, he's a bad person, accuse him of rape, accuse him of all the same things they've accused me of, attack him, his presidency's up, fuck him off. He just lost in court last week. He owes that woman $90 million. A woman said, Trump raped me. I don't remember when. I don't remember where. The same woman has written a book about how rape is sexy. He said, that bitch is crazy. They found him innocent of the rape and found him guilty of defamation for calling her crazy. And he must pay her $90 million. Matrix attack, the law, the judge, the law, fair, the law. $90 million. Make that make sense to me.
That makes no sense at all.
This is my exact point. You upset the Matrix, they come for you. Lawfare. So he was a black swan event like me. They tried to buy him, he wouldn't sell. Now they're going to try and destroy him. Now they're trying to take all his money off him and do anything it takes to stop him being president again. I don't know what fences they've raised. I don't know what they've got planned. But if they think they're going to run old Joe Biden against Trump and he's going to win fair and square, you must be out your fucking mind.
Yeah.
Something's going on. And they've got plans against me. So they've made new AI fences so no one gets famous again without signing that contract. Because what should have happened to me is when I was at 20% of my influence, I was offered that contract. And then, if I get bigger, I'm saying the right things. And then I also need the money. When I'm smaller, 50 mil was big money to me then.
Yeah.
Now 50 mil is like, what, a month's money? Who cares? I don't care. I don't want it. So that's
crazy,
the whole
bro.
point. So Trump wasn't a sellout. Let me give you a very simple rule to the world. Anyone they tell you about is a bad guy is a good guy. And anyone they tell you is a good guy
Is a sellout.
is a sellout and a bad guy. You can't go wrong if you go through the world that way. They're saying he's the good one. He's not. They're saying he's the bad one. He's the good one. And I guarantee 9 times out of fucking 10, you're going to be correct. That's how messed up this world is. It's genuinely inverse.
Yeah, it's fucked up world.
It's inverse. So I was a black swan event. Trump was a black swan event. We can't be bought. And that's why they're trying to destroy us. As simple as that. Because the demons operate in the dark. Demons need lies. Demons can't do their job in the light. And the light is truth. God is light. God is truth. If you tell the truth, if we have a battlefield, a playing field of truth, they can't do their snakery and their lies. They need deception. They require deception. That's not a man, that's a woman. The sky is green. They need all this garbage so that they can keep you in your slave box. If you knew the truth, bro, if people at home knew how money worked, the banks would be on fire tomorrow. They don't know. And the worst thing is, they don't even want to go and learn.
Andrew, what would you say to this, yeah? As we wrap up this podcast, I want to ask you this question. Let's just say the Matrix do pull their third strike on you, and they succeed.
Yep.
How do you want the world to remember you, and what's the impact you want to leave on people?
I feel like I've lived a good life. I'm 37, and I would argue that I've lived more life than most 100-year-old men. I've done everything, been everywhere. I've made a mark, made an impact. What's life for? Well, life's to have children and to leave an impact and to teach your children things. Bunch of kids, done my job. So I don't want anyone to think I'm sad about it. It was a decision I made. I feel like as a man, you should always live for something bigger than yourself. I feel like that the true masculine imperative is to find a battle worth fighting for. That's why men have always gone to war, and some men died. That's how it's always been for men. As a man, your life shouldn't be about quantity, it should be about quality. And trying to live as long as possible, but being that porridge goo in the middle is not as important as living a shorter amount of time and getting to be the T-bone steak. So I want people to understand that I believed I was doing the right thing, and I'm not a perfect person, and perhaps I made some mistakes, but I believed I was doing the right thing at the time, and that I don't have any regrets about it, and that I would like people to learn from my example and live true to themselves. And I think that the world can be a beautiful place when you're true to yourself. I really think that a lot of depression and a lot of sadness and a lot of discontentment with consciousness comes from the very simple fact that most men are not true to themselves. And when I say that, I mean, I can say this in a funny way, or I can say this in a serious way. I'm going to choose.
Give us both.
All right, let me choose funny first.
Go on.
You want to fuck a bitch? Fuck a bitch, bro. I love her. I love my girlfriend with all my heart. Yeah, I want to fuck her today. And I fucked her. Boom. I don't love her. I love you. I fucked her. Sorry. Now, I can pretend I'm not supposed to want to do that. I can pretend I don't want to do it. I can listen to my woman tell me that's wrong and then be told I'm immature and all this crap. I want to do what I want to do. If I want to tell a man to to go away in a less polite way, I'll do it. If I want to fire a member of staff, I'll fire them on the spot. I don't care. Because I know if I don't do what I want, the resentment inside of me eats away at me. And most men are living lives not doing what they want. Please understand. They don't get to talk to the girls they want to talk to because they're not important enough. They don't get to hang around with the guys as often as they want because they have to work a job they don't like doing. They don't get to tell their woman to be quiet because she'll leave him. He doesn't get to tell his boss to go away because he'll get fired. He just sits in his car, quiet and meek, filled with rage. And the best thing about being rich and important, and I guess the truest way to be happy as a man, is to be true to yourself, which is good and bad. I get to give to charity. I have a charity, TatePledge.com, and I donate millions of dollars a year to charity and feed children. I love my kids. I love my friends. I love the people around me. And if I don't like someone, I tell them to get fucked. And I say it right to their face, in their eye. And if they want to do something about it, it's up to them. And I'm prepared for that too. And I get to live true to my masculine imperatives in all ways. I don't have to sit and be fake or lie or get along with someone.
You keep it real.
I keep it real. And that is why so many men are unhappy today. They don't get to keep it real. Bro, you know what I find truly amazing? There are men out there who are afraid to tell their own woman, leave me alone, I'm busy. Because she'll give him a headache. Don't talk to me that way. And he's like, oh, babe, please, let me just work now. No, I'm working. Leave me alone. I love you very much, but I'm working. Leave me alone. There are men who don't even get to be a man in their own house. They don't even get to be a man in their own house. No wonder you're depressed. No wonder you're miserable. I'm talking about being the king of earth. You don't got to be the king of earth. At least be the king of your house. If someone breaks into that house, you have to die to protect that woman. You're paying the bills. And you said, leave me alone for 5 minutes. Is she giving you attitude? Bro, you said don't post our location on Instagram. They want to kill me. And she's worried about her likes. Most people's lives, most dudes' relationships, their lives are so fucked up. They don't even realize. No wonder you're sad. Look in the mirror. Look in your own eyes. I'd be miserable if I was these people. If I have a girlfriend, that's, I guess, it's one of the best things about status. I know this is a bit off topic because you asked me how I want to be remembered, but the answer is I want to live true to my masculine imperatives. But if I have a girlfriend and I get a girlfriend and I like her very much and we're together, and I say, we're together now, you don't need Instagram. You know what she says? Cool. And deletes it. I don't have to force her. I don't have to tell her. I don't have to control her. I just say it. And she's like, yeah, because she respects me and she knows I'm worth more than any Instagram page. If you say to your chick, delete Insta, she's like, well, I want my Insta.
Get rid of her.
Right, well, I mean, she needs it for some, I don't know. But I'm saying, if you're not even in, most men, I think most men desire respect. I think we all desire respect innately. But if you're not in charge of your house and you're not in charge of your own relationship and you're working for someone else, you're not in charge of your business. And obviously you're not in charge of the government because they're out to wreck you. Like, what are you doing? Of course you're sad. I'd rather be me and get punched in the face by the Matrix and get back up, or get punched in the face and keep smiling. But at least I have some semblance of control of my empire. At least. Most of these men haven't got anything. And that's why they're so sad. And I would hate to be remembered as one of them. But they won't be remembered at all. And that's why when they die, there'll be a number. And there's always going to be numbers and names on this planet. And the names have always had difficult lives. If you look back at any battle in history, they will say 13,000 people died.
And X person.
And one of them was him.
Yeah.
I'm going to be that guy. And avoiding all of the hardship it takes to become that guy is truly insane. Because you'll just be one of the 13,000. You'll still die. Like I said earlier about the man who doesn't want to fight things till wars go away. No, that's the reason I'm fighting this war against the Matrix, because they're coming for all of us. If any man is watching this, I may be charging at the gunfire first. I may be leading the charge and I may be getting hurt. You're somewhere at the back and you feel safe. They're coming for all of us. So at least I get to go down as a name as opposed to dying as a number. So don't worry about me dying a little bit early. Worry about yourself dying and not being remembered at all.
Andrew Tate, I want to thank you very much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, sir.
And guys, I know I've probably been quiet this episode, but when you have someone like yourself on Tate, God gave us one mouth and two ears for a reason, so all we've got to do is listen.
Thank you, sir.
So now I'm excited to have Tristan on and listen to see what he says as well.
Thank you, bro.
Have you got any questions that you'd like me to ask Tristan?
Ask him who's better at Uno. That's important. Let's see if I want to see if he tells you the truth. Let me tell you all guys something at home. I have never lost a game of Uno. I am undefeated, world champion, centennial, 3-time world champion. I was in jail, 3 life sentences, just me by myself, 1,000 people against me in the biggest Uno game ever played in history. I beat 1,000 people with no cards. I beat them. They let me out of my 3 life sentences. All of them had to get the bus to Jupiter because they were stupider than me. And I stayed here on Earth as the champ. You can't play greens against me. If you play greens at any point, I'm guaranteed to beat you. Blues and reds don't work. Uno, world champ. Repeat all of that to Tristan so he knows. Tell him he's been to Jupiter. He's stupider. I've been to jail, 3 life sentences. I got out because of my Uno prowess. I have never lost a game of Uno.
I'm going to play that clip to him. Any other questions for him?
That's all that matters, bro.
Andrew, I want to appreciate you. Thank you very much for coming on the podcast. And hopefully, I wish all this issue of yourself and, the law and all that sort of stuff can go to shit and basically come back to normal, get your freedom back. And then we'll link up in Dubai or Saudi Arabia or wherever we may be at the time.
Let's do part 3.
Part 3, exactly that. Guys, make sure you subscribe, like, comment. Also, I was going to plug your social, but I don't even know if you can do that anymore.
Yeah. So I'll do a quick plug here. Guys, if you liked what I said today, it's the tip of the iceberg. I have to censor myself so they don't kill me right away. So if you want to hear more about what I have to say, go to corporatate.com. I have a completely free email list. You can sign up there. If you want to learn how to make money online, you can join the real world. And if you want a fraternity of brothers who understand the truth about the enslavement which is coming for us all, you can join the war room. All of those things are accessible at cobratate.com. If you want to really piss off the educational establishment, you can go to university.com, which also leads to the real world, but using that website really makes them mad. So if you've wasted money on a degree at any point in your life, that's how you get retribution. Join the real world via university.com. And I'm only on Twitter at cobratate.
Shout out to Elon Musk.
Shout out to Elon.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Catch you all in the next one. Peace.